has begun.
Yeah, I was just about to say, is it gonna start? But it is.
Gonna send a handwritten thank you to my ISP. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. It is race 2. The 2.4 hour is underway. We still got people coming in off the ring over the back there. Psycho Smiley will lead them down in front of Buffer. Let's see if we can all get through the first turn cleanly. We've got a dive up the inside. We've got a little bit of action. Someone yeeted out wide. BTCC there in the M&M's car. Buffer shot out a little bit wide as well. But he's managed to hold it just over Kazzy. There's a little bit going on, but it's mostly clean. Mostly clean. Back to 4th position. BTCC having an absolute shocking start, and away he goes into the wall. You hate to see it. Bad luck, man. And so check out the back of the...
If he can get it around.
Dive Bombs is... Yeah, he's keen. Dive Bombs is keen to get past Tricky Brewer. But yeah, see if you're able to get in the lobby. Cogan, you should hopefully be able to spectate as well.
You know, if it actually showed you in the list of lobbies, that would be a start.
Sort by friends, man. Sort by friends.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay, the Yeetle. Let's see how the Yeetle goes. Nick Magic is juniors all over the back of him. Goes up the inside. And it was Mikey as well there. Snuck through in the Turtle Wax entry. So that Yeetle off to a bit of a slow start. That's all right. That's a pace gatherer, that one. And back up the front, Psycho Smiley just opening up a bit of a healthy 1.2 second gap around the actual circuit itself. Buffer now has broken clear in 2nd position. And Keefe coming through in 3rd as they all enter the Nurburgring itself. The Nordschleife for the first time. Well, was that Buffer getting a bit sideways? It was. Oh, a lot of people there getting a bit skew-whiff. And have a look at this battle for 4th. Kazzy just there. The Conzio's all over the back of him in the state. Oh, there's a lot of action going on. Conzio's been... Oh, he's lucky to hang on to that. There is a lot of argy-bargy going back here in 5th, 6th and 7th.
And we do know Conzio has...
someone's off in the background.
Oh, there might have been a few... There might have been a few dive bombs gone on there.
There's a fair bit going on. Conzio's up on the outside. Bounce through. God, somehow, Cogan, they've made it through safely.
That's ridiculous how all those cars have actually made it through there and not been facing the other way.
I don't know how that's... Oh, that's some contact. Double contact. Looks like Tricky might have gone into dive bomb who went into Kazzy. Somehow, again. Oh, this is as close as you get. Everyone bouncing off everyone. I don't know how everyone hasn't died yet. But here we go. This is as close as you can possibly imagine. Let's get back to the TV camera here. Oh, the battle is hot. Someone is off there on the outside. I didn't catch who that was.
Oh.
Someone from the lead. It was one of the front couple, I think.
That was... Yeah, it actually just went down so fast you couldn't really see it.
We get an overhead shot. There we go. Jump on board the Conzio in 5th position. You can see just how close it is. 4th and 3rd. They're battling it out all over the place.
He was loose there.
Thank you for follow JBA Games. And Cogan, welcome to live footage. You can actually watch a race as it unfolds.
It's just crazy how these things happen.
Isn't it?
The technology.
Oh, that looks like a little bit wide from dive bombs. He's gotten a little bit of a helping hand there, I think. Out wide, Isuzu Brian sneaks up the inside as well. Conzio and Tricky Brewer there. So this is a very, very tight little mid-pack bunch. More than a few hits going on.
In the meantime, Psycho Smiley has actually given himself quite a bit of a gap, actually.
Yeah, he's pulling away at the front.
Kafifi.
Plenty of fast guys in this lobby.
Yeah, Kafifi as well. Jesus, the two of them was kind of just sprinted away.
Disappearing out the front. Oh, Conzio goes to dive up the inside. Difficult spot to overtake. He's actually executed it without murdering both of them.
He has.
Conzio will be keen to get cracking. We know he's got really, really good pace no matter what track he's at.
Isuzu slipped in there. Oh,
Tricky Brewer got sideways. I just don't get how these people aren't all dying. This is so close together. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th all over each other. But I reckon Conzio's keen to get cracking on the 2 in front. We know he's quick. It looks like Isuzu Brian, though, keeping him very, very honest. Wants that spot back.
yeah, in the slipstream there.
We'll go up front, yeah, so you can see it. Psycho Smiley, 7.5 seconds already. Absolutely checked out. He's pushing as hard as you want to push.
He's
the mighty Aston Martin there. He's
gonna,
gone.
He's going to give GTR a run for his money on fastest lap, I think.
I think he might do. I think he's got something to chase. Keefe there doing beautifully, having just showed up at home moments before the start of the race. No preparation at all. Doing a nice job. Actually managed to hold that 2.1 second gap so far over Conzio, although Conzio is hunting him down and he's bringing a pack with him. So Keefe's got a fair bit to keep an eye on in the rearview mirror.
Very lucky that nobody has actually gone into the wall with that ridiculously close pack. Unfortunately, we're not that lucky, you see. Someone sneezes in our direction, Charlie, and we end up in a wall.
Oh, I've only got to look sideways and I'm in the wall.
Yeah,
but,
like on the last lap of a 2.4-hour race.
Yeah. Like literally, Isuzu Brian all over the place, but he's held it together and he somehow didn't even lose any time to Conzio. He's kept that half-second gap to Tricky Brewer, so these guys are just driving around together. And as I say, Keefe doing it right up there in second, but there is a huge pack of cars. And none of them are dropping off the back either. Dive Bomb is up, Tricky Brewer's behind. Speedy's there as well. Oh, there he goes, Tricky Brewer's gone around. No, he's held it. How are you guys doing this? Seriously.
Ridiculous. Oh, and going back further, we have some contact between the Kazi one and Junior Johan, who were battling quite a bit there. And because of that, BTC 77 is actually caught up right to the back of him now.
So drop back to last place, but he's made the position. Oh, and he licked the stamp and sent it there. So, absolutely.
Yeah, Kazi or Junior Gohan, he's lost two spots there. Oh, GTR Supreme Ed, he's dropped it a little bit. He's still struggling to get it back on track. In the
who's that? Supreme. Let's see if I can find it. There he is.
He struggled a bit there.
Wolf was there putting in the hard case, trying to chase down Supremo, who's going backwards towards him a bit. Nick in the Yeedle has found himself some nice bit of space just to sit there. The way this thing burns fuel and tyres, he'll probably only pit once for the whole race. And we'll all not even think about Nick Magic and he'll just show up there at the end somewhere. Okay, so it looks like this pack, 9th, 10th and 11th is all still together as well. With Junior not dropping off the back of BTCC. No. Long race though, long race, just lap 1 of 18. Oh, that's a lot to think about.
There is a lot to think about. I want to see who's going to get the slipstream here as well. BTC's, he's really close to the Kazi one. I think Kazi one's going to lose out here, potentially from 2 cars.
So do I. I don't think it's a straight you want to lead.
No.
Yeah, there we go. Can we get the double slipstream going on from Kazi? He's certainly in tow.
Yeah, we could get 3 wide. It's going to be risky. There goes
There's
BTC.
BTC is...
Oh, it's close.
Oh, he is somehow come out of that in front as they go into the Tiergarten. Oh, he's pushing. He's angry. He's got involved in a bit at the start. If he can keep it together, he's got to push on. He's got an 8-second gap up to Mikey Michelson, though, who in turn has actually got a bit of a gap as well. So... looks like Isuzu Brian is keeping up with Tricky.
MBR, definitely. Next time, get on it. Get signed up there. Oh,
kind of wish I was racing, but glad I'm not.
BTC losing out there to the Kazi when he's gained that spot back. So he's regained his P9 position. Evenly matched.
What Dive Bomb is... Yeah. Well, Dive Bomb is all over the back of Speedy. But Speedy has actually got that spot because he was behind. So he's taken that spot off. And Dive Bomb's in hot pursuit there. Only a second back as well from third. So she's still pretty close at the front, all things considered.
It's finally showing me gaps. It didn't do that at the start.
Didn't it?
No, but yeah, Cyclist-wise, he's down to 5 seconds now.
So we have Mr. Conzio taking over second position whilst we're looking a little bit further back. He has managed to catch Keefe and go past him, and he's off in hot pursuit. In fact, he's got that gap down to the front to just 5.6 seconds. So this is on. Psycho Smiley is not going to have this race all his own way. Conzio is coming. Keefe actually coming under a bit of pressure from Speedy.
Yeah, Speedy, as the name says, he's not slow. He's quite fast. And
he's going to be looking for that third spot very shortly, I think.
Right there, so he might get it at the bit of the straight here. Coming up.
Actually, we'll go on board. As we saw in the race just completed, race 1, it's one thing to catch up through the ring, it's quite another thing to overtake.
It was very Murray Walker of you.
Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah, it was amazing racing Super Dragon. Good job, man. I did that order myself, but man, you just stayed consistent. That was a cracking finish. I had a great time. I don't even care that I came fourth. That was worth it just for that.
Yeah, it was good close racing at the end there. Kept us all on our toes as to what was going to happen. But true to form, you bottled it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's what I do. Oh, that's one of my skills.
Isuzu, he's gone wide. He has missed out. He's missed out a lot there. Is he going to go the full way around?
Yeah.
He's trying to get back.
In fact, I think he's going to lose out to Mikey as well.
Oh, it's close.
The inside.
Isuzu
just hung on there.
Muscled his way past. But yeah, he missed out quite a bit there. He was right on the back of Tricky Brewer and Dive Bombs, who are pretty close to match.
Oh, Dive Bomb also, wild moment there.
That would have been a bit of a brown pants moment, I'd say.
I would imagine so. Well, he's not, certainly not pulling away from Tricky. We're starting to get a couple of little packs form.
Yes. Speedy is still on the back of Kafifi here. He's only half a tenth. It's only 1.5 seconds, less than 1.5 seconds back to the two guys though. So everyone's staying in contention here.
It really is. And Conzio was just taking chunks of time off Psycho Smiley. Down to 3.6 seconds. Although he runs wide, catches a snag and stops. Totally. Oh no, it was lag. It's okay. It was just lag.
Okay. That was an interesting lag there. I've never seen that one before.
I'm like, he's just stopped. He's hit the wall and snagged it. He's going to lose out heaps. So no, he's in fact still going and just cracked under the 3 second mark, pulling away from Keefe now, who is fighting hard to try and stay in front of Speedy.
All of which is making the two guys behind catch a little bit. Dive Bombs, he's less than a second now. The wipers are absolutely flat out. Clearly he is having difficulty seeing.
Yeah.
Tricky Brewer.
Yes, of course.
Staying there.
There is a cyclone over Conzio's neck of the woods. So he may have a bit of nasty weather there knocking his internet about. This battle is right back on. Keefe is. You feel like he's a bit of a cork in the bottle at the moment.
Something coming up the Courage corner here, and who is going to be courageous? Oh, that was a bit of a. Was that a brake check?
That was a moment for Speedy. I don't know.
He's lost out
what happened
quite a lot there. Yeah, he hit the back of Kafifi. Don't know if maybe just wasn't expecting the brakes to happen so suddenly there. But thankfully they didn't go round. We're all still pointing in the right direction.
Oh, massive moment for Keefe. Dive Bomb takes full advantage of that. Although Keefe gives him a massive shunt back. Oh, that's... He rightly waits. Sits there and waits for Dive Bombs to get going. A little bit unfortunate. Lucky, though, of Dive Bombs. He just fired forward into that wall. And honestly, they've only dropped sort of 2.5 seconds back. That could have been a hell of a lot worse. And at least Keefe did the right thing there. He just sat there and waited for dive bombs to get that done. So good job there. Good sportsmanship shown.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate place for something to happen along the carousel, because once you get on the outside of that bowl, you have no grip whatsoever. So you're just kind of waiting until you get back on it again. This has caused Mikey Michaelton to kind of take a little bit of a sniff on
catch up
on these guys.
Whoa, wild driving there from Tricky, who's fighting very hard to stay in front of Speedy.
And we actually have a bit of a battle going on at the back here. We have Nick Magic and Bufa with only 1.5 seconds.
They're at it.
Splitting them. They're just after going around the carousel there. Quite close as well.
Nice. In the meantime, Conzio is on it. Half a second back. He is officially there and with Smiley. He won't be smiling quite as psychotically at the moment, I wouldn't have thought. Huge lead, both 9 seconds down front of third place Tricky Brewer. But might just stay on board for a second, see what happens here. Conzio, they're getting close to the Dodge and Joey. In fact, that is the second, the baby carousel, as it were. He's just about 7/10 back. And I suspect the Aston's going to have all the grunt on the straight, but we'll find out.
And get the cameras out, guys, because unfortunately the Kazi one, he actually lost the rear at YouTube corner, which has dropped him back a little bit. He is in a bit of no man's land, big gap ahead and behind him, but yeah, bad corner to lose it on there.
Absolutely. Here we go. He's definitely got it. He's in the suck job now. He's less than 2/10 down. What can he do? He pulls out. Side by side, they're going to be going through the kink here on the... Yep, next to each other. And he's done it. Oh, a bit of grass there. But he tucks it back in.
Done it, yeah. Nice one from the Conzio.
Yeah. And late on the brakes coming through for the final chicane. I wonder if Psycho Smiley now, this will be the next thing. Can he actually push hard and keep up? In terms of fuel burn... I don't want to give the game away. I never try to do that because I know these guys do listen to the stream while they're racing. But there is a slight variation in fuel burn. So that might play out later on in the race.
And we have Dive Bombs, who's pitted.
Dive Bomb in the pits already? That's an early pit. 3 laps in.
Yeah. Maybe he's
That's only 2 laps in, really.
It really is, yeah. Unless he's trying to just kind of get out of the way. Do his own thing. But that's interesting. I didn't...
It is.
Wouldn't have expected that.
Right, so... Sit rep. Conzio now. Just pulling away. 2.2 seconds. I mean, he had a huge amount of speed to catch Psycho Smiley, so not too surprised, but... Drops an 8.18 on that second lap. And we'll check back in and see how he goes. In fact, Speedy, now that he's in third, has taken a bit of time off Psycho Smiley as well. So it's a very long race. We're only 3 laps into 18. Anything could happen here. Looks like Tricky Brewer's just clinging on with that Hyundai, hanging on to the back of the Toyota.
Not too bad away, yeah. And obviously Speedy with a half a second penalty, but that's not going to affect him in the slightest.
No, that'll burn off.
We do have Mikey Michelson though. He's going up really close to the back of Kafifi here.
There we go.
So
we do still have it. It's been pretty good. Like with 3 laps in, you'd expect a Nurburgring Nordschleife race to space out a little bit more. The fact that we've still got battles going.
Yes.
Oh, as we see, Keefe gets super duper sideways there. Just about drops the lot. It's always a little bit hard to tell what's a bit of lag and what's really happening, but
especially with the steering inputs of you spectating versus the actual steering inputs.
Yeah,
it's definitely off-putting if you're trying to emulate the same thing. Oh,
no, that was
a a very, very hard tank slapper there for Kafifi. It's cost him the position.
As indeed in the world's brightest car. In fact, he's got Dive Bombs who wants a piece of this. Oh, there's contact. Dive Bombs shunts him way off the track. And I suspect he will slow down and make sure he redresses that position to Brian. And he does do that. So good work there, Dive Bombs. Having just had it happen to him not long ago, he did the right thing. And now BTC, who we saw go right to the back of the field. Oh, what has happened there to... Who was that? Was that Isu? Yeah, it was. So it looks like Brian and Dive Bombs back coming together again. I'll actually go here and we'll jump on board. Spend a bit of time with Dive Bombs.
Further down the back, we have a few gaps kind of breaking out. We have GTR Supreme Ed is kind of taking rear. It's about 5-second gaps between a lot of them. At the back, and then we have a bit of a gap between Nick Magic and the Kazi one. Kazi one just going about it himself. He's a big gap between P10 and P12, and then everyone else quite close.
Brian really struggling here. I suppose the one thing we didn't mention is, and I can confirm from that first race, lap 3 is the lap that your tyres start to go off. And I think we might be seeing that in a big way here for Isuzu Brian.
Yeah, he's struggling with the tyres.
Yeah, he's struggling to keep that thing in a straight line.
And of course, it's a pure compound effect then. Once you start having issues with the tyres, you are just going to get more and more wear as you slide across the track, and it's going to make things even worse for you. Whereas if you keep Dive Bombs did pit though, if you remember that. He actually did pit.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's got nice fresh tyres, so you feel like this is just a matter of when and not if.
Yeah.
Isuzu's. I know that when you look at his tyres, Brian's tyres, they don't look that bad, but again, if you saw race 1, I can tell you now that he'll be starting to feel that. The tyre wear indicator there, I don't think is really reflective of what you feel in the game. He's having a tough time of it.
He is. He's not having a pleasant experience around this lap of the ring.
Hey GTR, how are you, man? Thank you for joining and racing in race 1, and huge congrats, man. You smashed it. That was phenomenal pace. So, this is not a good spot to overtake though. Patience is going to be the order of the day here.
Yeah, I think he's getting probably a little bit frustrated to be stuck behind Brian, because potentially part of that. He's on
nice fresh tyres.
Yeah, part of that pit stop was probably to get himself into a good position here, but.
Exactly.
You are right though. Patience is, you need to be patient and find the right decision to pass. But Brian went a bit wide.
And this is one of those tracks where your pit strategies absolutely get ruined by other cars. In the iRacing 24-hour around here, there were laps that we had ruined by cars that weren't even in our class. We were lapping the cars, or they were a different class, and you lose a lot of time. Your strategy was to get back out on fresh tyres and charge on. And you find yourself stuck behind lower category cars for a lot of this stuff because there's nowhere to overtake.
Very few places, and when everybody is on the same class, it's just, you just don't have enough of a power difference to just like pass someone by driving past them. So it's
exactly.
Really is a bit of patience, but it will work out. That's the thing. If you have the patience, it works out. Keep it clean.
Yeah, you just got to wait. And I mean, if you were watching Isuzu Brian at this point, although a little mistake there from Dive Bomb, if you were watching this, you'd have to have some hope and some faith that it was going to happen soonish.
That's it. You know you have the pace, so it's just a matter of waiting.
That's it.
And let's take a look here. So Speedy. Oh, hang on. Did we miss something? Because Speedy's in the lead by 2.7 seconds.
Speedy is in the lead.
What have we missed? What has happened to Concio?
What has happened?
Oh,
Conzio's surely he has not pitted.
Tricky Brewer he had to touch the wall there, but he's kept his position.
Kept it going with Psycho Smiley.
He's there. He's still there.
So Smiley was second. So he's obviously had an incident as well as the Conzio. But no, definitely can confirm. You can see from their tyres there, neither of those two have pitted.
Correct. So something's happened to Conzio. He must have made a mistake and gone off.
Yeah, he's clearly had a bit of a mischief because he's now nearly 3 seconds behind Speedy. And I suspect the pit window is beginning to open for people as well. They might be starting to get jack of these horrible tyres.
Potentially, I think it was a pretty big instance as well because he was at least 5 seconds in the lead. So that's a good chunk of time he's missed. He's going to have to catch that back up again.
Yeah. He's lost a huge amount of time.
Huge, yeah.
He must have been a long way in front. Thank you for the host there, GTR.
And he is catching again, though. He obviously has a huge amount of pace. So he's going to get that back up again. Speedy, though, he's not slow.
Having said that, there's not as much in it at the moment. So maybe that pug is a bit of a pig on worn tyres. So Speedy's going along just nicely. The gap is sort of maintaining at this point.
Just to put it into perspective there, his previous lap from Conzio was an 8:32, as you can see in the right there. So big incident.
That's a huge one. 8:18 to 8:32.
Yes,
Speedy's
Conzio not in a Hyundai, correct.
Correct.
Tricky Brew though always does pick the Hyundai, doesn't he? It's a regular car for him.
He does. He's always got the N.
Yeah.
The Hyundai N. And yeah, going along all right. So it's keeping nice and interesting at the front.
And then two guys.
Pace is a little bit slower than race one, I would say, which is nice for these guys.
Yeah, well, take our race winner out of race one, and then the pace probably levels up a little bit.
Yeah.
We have Psycho Smiley and Mikey is still keeping in touch with each other, so only 1.5 seconds between them.
Yeah, there you go. Conzio starting to take some chunks back off Speedy now. Around the GP circuit. So a similar scenario, I'd say that Toyota of Speed is very good through the GP circuit, much like my Mazda was in race one. But on the ring, it suffered a little bit more, and I suspect that's a similar scenario with the pug maybe struggling a bit on the GP circuit, but now that he's in the ring, he's starting to take some time off and pulling away from Tricky Brewer as well.
So we've just had Bufa and Supremed have just pitted there. And it looks like Supremed has actually taken on some fuel as well. So change of strat is happening there. Bufa looks to be just have taken tyres, I think. But Nick Magic in the Yeetle currently...
How's he going?
P12, I think he's just pitted. I believe.
Oh, is he?
I think he is just pitted,
I thought that thing would just lap forever. Yes, I'd suggest you are right. No fuel. I don't suspect anyone will take fuel for the first round. Some fresh tyres, but nonetheless.
Supremed has definitely taken fuel. He's on a completely different strategy. So we'll see how that plays out. He's getting his splash and dash has kind of gone out of the way early.
And in the meantime, BTC again went to the back of the field at the start of the race. He's now got it down to 4.3 seconds behind Isuzu Brian. So he's on a charge. He's trying to get going.
Piosco suggesting that we should do the ring in the Ford Transit.
For sure. I'll be all up for that.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm going to have to put my jumper on, I think. So how's Dive Bombs going? In a bit of free space. He has dropped off the back of Keefe, although he's had a pit stop, I'd say. So we're sort of in the mixture of those who have pitted and those who haven't. And I reckon at the end of this lap, we'll see a few more positional changes. Mikey Michaelton now hot on the tail of Psycho Smiley.
And Conzio now only 1.2 seconds behind. Oh, and he lost the rear a little bit there. Bit of oversteer. He's lost actually 3/10.
Possibly struggling with tyres.
Yeah, I would have thought speed worse though. Just kind of looking at a few things there.
Speedy's doing a decent job though. We know how quick Conzio was. I reckon we've got a genuine competitor here at the front. Both of them now pulled a long way away from third position. Nearly a 10-second gap back to Tricky Brewer from Conzio.
And one of the main things as well, I have pretty much from third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and actually seventh. There's not a huge gap. There's only around 2 to 3 seconds between each one. Any mistake,
so the pit stop's good.
any mistake at all there, and that's you're gone. And as I say it, dive bombs just went wide there and lost about a second. And unfortunately, it was just before you go up the hill where you really need all the momentum.
That's the worst spot. Well, there you go. Conzio's got it down to a second now from Speedy. I reckon he's just aiming to get close enough to get that suck job and overtake down the straight. I'm going to quickly throw my jumper on because I'm getting cold now that I'm not racing.
Probably about 26, 27 degrees there in Cherry's complaining it's cold. But looks like Speedy's keeping the gap there, so I think Charlie could be right. Conzio perhaps biding his time, waiting for Dollinger Hare. Let's see if we go back to Tricky Brewer and Psycho Smiley. The gap is now down to 1.1 seconds. So, lots of stuff happening. I do think that Conzio and his tyres potentially struggling a little bit here. The car is oversteering.
Yeah, well, it's looking a little bit hard to control, isn't it?
It looks like it. Definitely looks like it. Tricky Brewer potentially in the same boat because he is now down. He's lost a bit of time, and the gap is now down to less than a second between himself and Psycho Smiley. So he might lose that position before the end of the lap.
He might do.
Oh, and he's gone a bit wide there as well. So MBR is asking, when are you due to move your house?
Mate, I am out of this current house on the 22nd of June. So this and next weekend, I reckon, are my last 2 weekends have just sort of been chill. And then for a couple of weeks after that, another little snap sideways from Conzio. A couple of weekends after that, I might be a bit light on the ground in terms of streaming and videos, but then I'll be back with a vengeance, with a whole new house, a whole new setup. I'm looking forward to that. Here we go. So is he close enough to get the slipstream? He's there, but that Toyota's got a fair bit of grunt. He's making ever so tiny gains. Both of them really pulling away from third. Speedy's got pace here. He's got genuine pace. And
at the same time, Tricky Brewer, he's now down to 0.2 of a second behind Psycho Smiley.
Well, in fact, he's
passed him now. He's actually given the indicator there, so that wasn't going to be contested by Tricky Brewer.
Oh, very sideways from Speedy, and both of them
in the pits.
Okay, so both of them dive in the pits.
Now, what's going to happen behind?
About the time you do it.
Is Psycho Smiley and Tricky Brewer going to do the exact same? They're literally nose to tail.
Looks like they're both going to dive in, and they do, straight in the pits together. Oh, this will be tight to come out. No fuel, just tyres. They should theoretically return, as Speedy and Conzio have. They should return to their exact same positions here. They come out. Tricky Brewer is in front.
Where is
Psycho Smiley? Still in the pits.
He's taking fuel. That's
so he has taken on fuel. He's taken the hit now, early.
That's interesting. Different strategy.
Keefe, on the other hand, has continued. So this will be his 5th lap on these tyres. Running long in the GTR, that's for sure.
I'll tell you what, if that's his 5th lap, he's not doing too bad with tyres.
Yeah. And Mikey Michelson's in the same position.
Yeah.
I don't believe either of them have pitted. And just punching along nicely, just getting it done. Obviously looking to do one less pit stop than their competitors, I'd suggest. So Smiley came out of that in 6th position. But, as we said, it does appear he's taken on some fuel.
And he has pace.
So throwing the...
So
he does have pace.
He is easily going to catch up to the back of Mikey Michaelton and Kafifi here, who are really close and battling. So interesting.
And on old tyres too. So should make that 3.5 second gap up pretty quickly, but I suspect it'll be in the ring and he may be stuck there. He's going to have to show a bit of patience.
Yeah.
Interesting to see how that tactic plays out. Check back in on the leaders. And it's still about a second. So as it stands, Speedy and Conzio, pretty similar sort of gap. Just yo-yoing between 0.9, although a mistake from Conzio. And he has dropped back just a little bit from Speedy.
Some good pace though from the guys up front. Pretty fast paced. Tricky Brewer, he's having a solid run.
Really solid run. He's pitted in 3rd and a 3.5 second gap back to 4th.
Yeah. Now the guys in 4th and 5th haven't actually pitted yet, so that's why they're quite close there. So add an extra 7 seconds or so, depending if you just take tyres.
Yeah. So in race 1, GTR actually did 5-5-4-4. They were his pit stop strategies. So 5 is a lot. I went 4-4-4-3 for mine.
Yeah, and you probably...
The fact that you could hold pace with 5 laps, man, it's insane. But you were in a different league, I think, to anyone else racing tonight that I've seen.
And if we go back to Psycho Smiley, Michaelton, he is right on the back of Kafifi right now.
So he is.
Really there. So let's see what happens here. I think this is going to be the closest battle we have on track. Isuzu Brian unfortunately had a power cut and disconnected him.
Who was that?
Isuzu Brian. He's had a power cut, so that's really unfortunate, man.
Yeah, that sucks. Sorry to hear that, man. The power cut out. That's just bad luck, isn't it?
That is unfortunate. MBR is asking, can your wheelbase change rims? It can.
Yep, it certainly can. The Thrustmaster has... It doesn't even come with the wheel attached to the base. You actually have to put the wheel on and screw it in place. And there's a heap of adapters available online. A couple of different Thrustmaster wheels even you can buy for it, isn't there?
Oh, loads, yeah. Most of the ones that you buy would be actually from Thrustmaster's range. There's a good... I would hazard a guess, I'd say there's about 10 different wheel rims that you can buy. Ranging from Formula 1 to GT. One of the ones I'm interested in is actually the Sparco one, the Sparco GT one, which is it's an official replica of a GT racing wheel. I was interested in that, alright.
It is. And whilst we look on board with Mikey there chasing down Keefe, have a look who's just behind him. It is Psycho Smiley. He's caught that 3.5 second gap up.
He has.
And he'll be pretty keen to get past this two. This is what I said might happen. He'll catch up on the ring, and I don't think there's going to be much he can do about it. Unless they make a mistake.
He's going to be keen to get past these, though. I really do think the podium position, it could be down to these next few corners here.
You lost... Oh, there you go. GTR... His PS4 lost connection 2 minutes after the race finished. Damn, that was lucky. Oh. You'd have been gutted if you smashed the whole race like that in first.
Jeez, that is, talk about timing.
Yeah.
Psycho Smiley lost a bit of momentum there. And dropped back to further than a second.
Yeah. Maybe just struggling with a bit of that aero wash. Brian, it's happened 3 times of late. Damn. Oh, as we see a bold overtaking maneuver there. Psycho Smiley up the inside. Mikey didn't jump into the bowl, into the carousel there. Smiley did and just drove through. So I don't think there was any argument there. I think that was very much an invitation. Please, sir, I'll take the high road. You take the low. We're not racing each other. We're a pit stop apart.
Yeah, once you go on the outside of that bowl, like we mentioned, there's literally no grip. So it's a slow way around. You just wait.
Yep, I think he might have just been getting out of the way and letting that happen. We'll see if Keefe does the same thing. Because, of course, by doing so, Mikey has dropped sort of 2 seconds back behind Keefe now. But theoretically, if Keefe gets out of the way of Smiley, then they'll be back on it. But I'll tell you who else is approaching is Dive Bombs, who has also caught this back.
He has, and has he pitted? I'm not sure if he has or not. I don't think so. So he's done.
Dive bomb.
Yeah, he's done really good on tires so far. Then.
Yeah.
Really good.
Really, really well. Unless did he pit?
I don't see it. Honestly, don't see it.
Yeah, no, he did. Lap 3. You can see there P lap 3.
Oh, it's not showing for me.
Yeah, so he did have a pit.
It's weird.
I'll just check up with our
Thanks,
leaders,
GT, for not showing that to me.
So Speedy's actually pulled away. 2.4 seconds up the road now from Conzio.
Oh, that was less in the last time I checked, which was only about 20 seconds ago. So potentially Conzio has done another quick mistake. Probably just before getting onto the straight. Maybe at the baby carousel. We know what can happen there.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yes.
We'll see when he crosses the line what his lap time is. Although this is his out lap, so it won't show.
MBR, so does your rim have to be compatible with your Thrustmaster, or can you attach a DIY? So the connection itself, yes, does have to be compatible. I'm not sure what DIY options there are available. It's definitely not as straightforward as the adapter for the Fanatec ones. But that's definitely not a no-go. There probably is ways to do it.
Yeah.
Someone's probably found out a way.
Actually, it looks like Conzio may have just made another little mistake as well.
Yeah, just dropped a little bit there, and his tires are completely fresh. So Kafifi's in the pits, along with Mikey Michaelton.
They're finally in.
They are finally.
It was about time.
So.
Yes, GTR, Speedy, CR, Speedy is Speedy tyres, yeah.
So they are in a battle, obviously, themselves, matching each other. Probably the best thing to do is to keep with it. BTC in the
Trying to
pits.
stick with each other. Well, he did quite well to get up from where he fell back to. This is his second pit stop. He pitted on lap 3.
Yeah.
Then he did lap 4, and this is the end of lap 5, and he's doing another pit stop.
He is struggling with the tyres from the looks of it.
Yeah, obviously. Really struggling with the tyres. How's our Yeetle doing? Our favourite Yeetle?
I'm seeing pits on every lap from the Yeetle, so I don't know if that's the same for you. No, it's not. Okay.
I'm only seeing it on the previous, yeah.
Jeez. I was like, there's something bad going to happen there if it's every single lap.
Again, I don't want to say too much because these guys are in a race, but I think the Yeetle's days of just being so good on fuel maybe behind us. Once upon a time, it just burnt less fuel than every other car. I don't feel like that's the case anymore.
I tell you
So
what,
there you go. BTC has topped the tanks again.
go back one. Go back to the two guys in taking up the field here, because we have a battle going on between GTR Supremed and the Kazi one. Ooh, Buddha having an issue.
Yeah. Oh, and contact there. We just jump on board Supreme as he gives Kazi the... Oh, and doesn't redress that either. Just charges on.
Interesting.
I didn't quite see the incident. I don't know if that was caused, in fact, by Kazi maybe losing it or something in front, but Supreme choosing not to redress.
Yeah, just with the camera angle there, it was quite hard to see, and unfortunately I don't have any replay capability and no keyboard attached.
No, me either.
Well, he is redressed. He has
he's redressed it. Yeah, he has. He's just rolled out of that and let Kazi back past, and he's got it all to do again.
Now, from the looks of it, they might be on different strategies from what's going on here.
Conzio takes the fastest lap at an 18.5. Pace is definitely slower than race 1.
Mm-hmm.
See if they warm into it though. When did I drop my fastest? Second last, third last lap or something? So lots of racing to go. Speedy's still a comfortable 2.5 seconds up the road. Apparently loves having a slowdown penalty because every time he winds it down a bit, he gets another one.
So Kazi one is just pitted there as expected. His tyres were looking pretty rough.
Pretty average.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were starting to get a bit rough.
I tell you what, I'm just looking there as well. GT or Supremed, he's done nearly 5,500 kilometers in that BMW.
Oh.
That's some amount of practice in there.
Well, having said that, I'm on board with Junior, who, shout out to Junior, he's in a bit of a no man's land. He's 14 seconds back from Mikey and 21 seconds up from BTC. But if you have a look at that odometer there under the fuel, Bowser, he has done 17,644 kilometres. That is more kilometres than I've done in my actual real life cars since Gran Turismo. How old is this game? About 2.5 years old? Does that sound right? It would have been 2 in October, yeah?
Oh, I think it's 3 now, isn't it?
A 3. It's 3.5, is it?
At least it's 2, yeah.
Well, that's. I mean, that's a lot of kilometres in the. What's he in the Lexus, isn't it?
Not for me, mate. I have.
In the Lexus, yep.
I have my VW. I got it 3 years ago. Yeah. 3 years ago.
And how many Ks have you done in those 3 years?
104,000 kilometers.
Holy shit! Your country's so tiny. Mine is so massive. How does that even work?
I have to travel to work. Oh, well, I did. I did have to travel to work. I don't anymore. It's actually great. I think my car has done like 100 kilometers in the last 4 months.
That's a ridiculous amount of Ks in 3 years.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't mind the driving, not one bit. But my God, does it really affect the appreciation of a car?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right, so where's Mike? He's 3.7 seconds back now from Keefe. They've both pitted, and Keefe took on fuel. Nice full tank of fuel there. So he might rise to the top a little bit later on if he can hold a good spot with fuel.
Just a lot of interesting strategies happening now, right?
Yeah, it's a lot more strategy than it seemed like what was happening in my race, where everyone sort of stuck to a more similar strategy.
Well, you see, you have to think people might have actually practiced for this race.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Speedy, or Conzio, I should say, has actually caught up a little bit towards Speedy now. It's around the 1 second mark.
What is 2? He's put the hammer down. He's going for it. Did anyone use a hard compound? No, Mr. Big Wang. I locked it at medium compound only. Much like the real life racing, you only get one sort of tyre to use. We all got to use the same tyres, so that's what we're doing. Last year, of course, we had multiple compounds, but there are also 2 1.2 hour races, which is not much more than... it's a long sprint race, isn't it? It's just a regular race, I suppose. But this one I wanted to make more about the endurance, about concentrating for 2.4 hours. And fuel is just on 1 times burn. Tyres are on 3 times burn. I didn't want them to play too much of a hand. I wanted concentration and consistency to win the day around a track like this. It'd be different at Spa or Le Mans or something like that, but at this particular track, I think the challenge is in concentrating and keeping focus for that amount of time.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you're still worrying about obviously the tires, but it's a natural worry. You know, your tires are just going off at the end of the stint, and that's exactly what the way they should be.
And I quite like it because you're pitting before they're fully dead, and fuel's not really an issue. So you sort of have to make a decision. Like in my race, obviously Super Dragon made the decision that every 3 laps he was pitting. Oh, Conzio, is that off or is he lagging? No, that was lag. Okay. I'm learning to ignore that. He is only one second behind.
Well, you know,
but
one of these days,
and actually just drops an 8:13.6, which is a very, very tasty lap time indeed.
Ooh.
And Speedy will be disappointed because he did a 8:15.7, which is also a bloody lots of burn, lots of drifting there.
Yeah, he just wanted to go around that turn one sideways.
I think he did.
Yeah.
He'd be gutted, wouldn't he? He's just dropped an 8:15, an absolute shit-hot lap. And Conzio's responded by just casually going 2.1 seconds faster on the same lap. So the pace has arrived, gentlemen, as the fuel drops out of the cars.
It's getting quite close now to GTRs. Well, I say close, but it's not hard. I say it's not hard, but the difference of like 3 to 4 seconds is not a lot around the Nordschleife.
It's really not. Conzio off again, wide. No, it was lag. It's fine. He's 8 tenths back. God, damn it, Conzio.
Do you realise that one of these days, or one of these laps, we're just going to say, oh yeah, Conzio, there's a bit of lag there, and then he's actually in the wall.
That's a bit of lag. Yeah, no, he's actually gone. Any 24-hour race is always a mental challenge. It is. And look, this is obviously only 2.4. I would never try and run a 24-hour race in Gran Turismo. I know some German mob did recently, and apparently it went quite well. But I just don't think Gran Turismo as a game is the right platform excuse me, to run a long endurance. I think 2.4 hours, as we see Conzio again. No, there we go. Yep, there's the lag. He's just crashed into the wall. But yeah, so I just don't think Gran Turismo Sport is set up as a platform to run long endurance races. The pit stops are too fast. You can't drive a swap. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I just don't. Yeah, I think 2.4 hours.
MGH's actually mentioned it just exactly like you said there. There's no driver changes, and that is 100% needed for endurance races.
It is. I mean, even just to have a full-length pit stop and a decent damage model where slamming into the wall, like I didn't even care. A couple of those losses, I actually aimed to straighten it up so I could bounce off the wall. I could have turned damage on, but it's just not quite the same in iRacing, for example, or even Assetto Corsa. The stakes are high. You don't want to crash because it could legitimately mean a fair bit of time spent in the pits. I think if we all had to come out here today and do this race knowing that if you slam into the wall, you could spend 15-20 minutes in the pits. I mean, that's a big chunk out of 2.4 hours. But I think you change your driving style. What I find is that on iRacing, I definitely don't push anywhere near as hard in an endurance race as you do in like qualifying or even just a short sprint race.
Yeah, exactly. There's a good question for you, Charlie from MRB. He said he was thinking of buying a Toyota Silica 94 model and turning it into something. Thinking of either a track day car, time trial car, or a rally car. What would be your suggestions? Considering you already have.
Well, I don't do. I sort of, yeah. So the RX-7 is more of it's just a pleasurable cruiser that I have tracked and I have done. I've done a motorcar in it and a couple of track days. It depends how much money you want to spend. I think all three of those options are quite expensive, but rally would be the cheapest. I think I've seen people spend relatively small amounts of money on a rally car and go really well, because a lot of rally, especially at club level, is about talent over the price of your car. I think if you get into time trial, you're going to have to start spending big dollars on your car if you want to sort of compete. But yeah, there are so many categories in time trial as well, that if you keep it relatively close to stock, you'll probably find...
Is that like... Yes, it's...
Was it real? Yes, yeah. I keep saying the same thing and wondering the question, but a track day car is something a little bit different, because you can just go out there and tinker. I don't mind the idea of a track day car, because you can go out there and test it stock the way you bought it. Then you can change the tyres, put some nice grippy tyres on, test it again, suspension, brakes as you get there, power increases, and you can watch the lap times drop off each time you do a track day. So that could be a possibility. If you want to get into racing, that's a different story. And actually, I'm going to just jump over here to Conzio, who is only a 10th behind and looking for a way past. So he has got the bit between his teeth at the moment. He's reeled Speedy into the tune of 2.5 to 3 seconds. And he looks fighty. He's ready to get past.
He is, and again, I'm glad he didn't try and send it into Courage Corner there, because I just feel like a lot of bad things would have happened for P1 and P2.
100%. You did a 24-hour team event with VLX, but it was split up into 2 12-hour stints.
Oh, that's...
Still, did you have to do 12 hours, GDA? If you did 12 hours around the Nordschleife, that's why you did a 208. Because you've just spent 1,000 years sitting here doing this.
yeah, that's tough going.
That is tough going. Okay, so he's just maybe rolled out of it a little bit. I think he's understanding that patience is going to be required here, but you suspect he's going to be teeing up a move on Speedy pretty soon. Looks like the pug's come alive now with less fuel on it. Speedy actually runs a little bit wide and just tops his penalty timer up, just as he was starting to wind it down.
Yeah, I think he was feeling that it was just a bit too low. Need to get that back up to at least half a second.
But here we go. This is where the Conzio is right up his clacker.
Yeah, and I
doesn't really have to do much, does it? You can just sit there and wait.
I was just saying that. I think he's going to wait until the end of the lap, and just.
I think that's the good play. Yeah.
Try and get into the slipstream. But the pace of these guys up front is quite impressive, and they have gapped Tricky Brewer. It's now 33 seconds back to P3. But, and here is the big but. Psycho Smiley, we know he pitted and we know he took on a lot of fuel, is now in a completely different strategy.
Is he?
Compared to, because obviously Tricky Brewer and Psycho Smiley, we're battling it out.
Speedy's wide. The overtake is actually done before they even get to the Don Jaho. Speedy just shot out of the baby carousel as he gets all sideways again and gives Conzio the easy pass. So the big question now with Conzio flying, can Speedy tuck in behind him?
Yeah, reverse of what we thought.
Yeah, now he's got the slipstream, so it might be a good play. He's going to sneak in front again. Look at this. Look at him go past. That's the strategy. Just gives it away. Glides on past Conzio. And now Conzio might be stuck there. I'll keep an eye on this. I think Conzio's going to have a crack in the first lap, and now that he's back in the slipstream, he hasn't dropped off any further. I think Conzio needs to try and get this done through the GP circuit if he can, because if he gets stuck behind him through the ring, he will be in this same position at the end of next lap, I reckon. Because
they're pretty even on pace. And was there
very even on pace?
What was
another 8:17 for Speedy?
What was it? The comments there? Was he thinking of doing a pit stop? Did he change his mind?
I don't know. The pace has definitely increased though. It's hot. 8:14. Oh no, that was out of the pits. That 8:14, I think. But the 13 and the 16 are fresh out of the pits. They're good times.
Yeah.
1 year and 2 months. Piosco, nice man. That's like longer than I practically use this this Twitch channel for. I've only really been on Twitch properly for 6 months, so kudos to you. 200 SX for drifting. Oh, okay, this is lag. This is going to be lag. Yeah, ignore this. There we go.
Unfortunately, what wasn't lag was the Kazi one. He just lost it there. He is struggling in that Mercury's fresh tires actually though. So, and Supremed also struggling and lost it in the Beamer, but he has also been struggling with some pace with the BMW.
Yeah, we'll go back and have a bit of a look. Tricky Brewer, bit of a lonely race for him at the moment. 36 seconds off. I mean, those two guys at the front are holding a cracking pace.
Yeah.
So you can't blame Tricky Brewer for not running that pace. He's still actually doing pretty good laps. 820s are really good. So he'll be monitoring that gap to Psycho Smiley, who is a little bit inconsistent in his lap times, but also has a pretty big gap in no man's. Here we go. Dive bomb, 17 seconds back in 5th, but Mikey Michelson, and in fact Keefe, as he nearly loses it in the background there. Those three are still close, so 5th, 6th and 7th is right on as we approach halfway through this race.
Yeah, some impressively close track times there. Potentially different pit stop strategies that we haven't seen.
Yeah. And speaking of no man's land, poor old Junior, he's having a decent race, just going about his business, just living his best life. But he is 35 seconds off the back.
He had a poor last lap though, in 8:46. That was something happened obviously in the last lap.
I reckon that was a pit stop. Because
yes.
he's got some nice fresh tyres on there.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's probably a little bit closer to Keefe before he pitted, but yeah, definitely a lonely old race for him. BTC just hanging out in 9th. And has worked his way back, and he's only just staying ahead. Oh no. He's comfortably ahead. So that might be the end of the lead lap. Have the other guys started lapping? I'm trying to figure out the times there.
I don't think we've lapped any cars yet, no. If you look on the map there still is at least half a track.
Yeah, that's a good distance, yeah.
So even though the pace is quick, it's not that quick. To start lapping cars around in the Nordschleife is... I don't think we're going to see it unless people make mistakes, to be honest.
Nah, I think I agree with you. Where's Buffer? So he's also fresh out of the pits by the looks of that. Running his own strat there in 11th ahead of Supreme. Oh, who's just having a real old time there, isn't he? But the good news for him is he's got fresh tyres, he's got a full tank of juice, he's ready to just roll on out. So let's keep an eye on how those ones go. The Kazi one in 13th. Playing along there, and that is actually last. So we've had have we had two people drop out?
We have, yeah, because we had the drop out at the start, and then we also had who was this? Brian, who had his internet his power cut.
That's right. That is right, and that is the field.
So
let's go back to the front. The Conzio there has pulled a 1.6 second gap. Speedy hanging in.
It was only there. It was actually only 0.3 of a second, but it looks like Speedy just made a bit of a mistake and has dropped back a little bit. Not too far though.
Well, they're on the end of this tyre life, I think. This would be lap 4 on these tyres. So I'd suggest you're starting to really feel the pain of them. So it's close. The point is, it's 1.3 seconds for the lead. It's a nice close race, actually.
Yeah, it's really good at the front. I'm still very interested.
You watched me on YouTube when you were a C driver trying to learn. Fair enough. MGH. Sorry, Cogan, what was that?
I'm still very interested to see how the podium position is going to end up, because obviously we know there's a different strategy between Tricky Brewer and Psycho Smiley. That's all going to depend on what way the pit stops go And who takes the most fuel?
Yeah.
Speaking of pit stops, I'm gonna have my own pit stop and have a bit of a break. So
no dramas at all.
Back in a shake.
No problems. So it looks like it has re-evened itself up again. We'll go on board. Actually, Speedy closed it down to 1.2 seconds. So both of them, I would suggest, are struggling a little bit with the with this tyre. I wonder if they're going to come in this lap or next. And also, it must be difficult for Speedy to follow this. If Concio keeps lagging out for us, presumably he's doing the same thing for Speedy. So he must keep thinking, he's gone, he's crashed, he's dead. Nah, he's back. Is anyone starting to open up from COVID-19? Yeah, I think most of Australia is starting to open up a little bit, isn't it? I'm surprised how many are using traction control. Well, I think it's one of those things that certainly, I didn't take note of how many people were using it at the start of the race, but you could progressively add it, I suppose, to try and control these worn tyres. I'm thinking these two are potentially going to pit at the end of this lap, but we'll see. And we'll see if they split strategy as well. They're on the same strategy at the moment. Yeah, not at the pointy end. Yeah, these two guys up the front. TC well and truly off. Wouldn't be surprised if TCS is being used so they can drive without thinking too much because it's so long. It would absolutely help for sure. I think those sorts of driving aids like traction control, it's going to help combat the tyre wear for one. And as you say, given that concentration is so hard, having to do it for 2.5 hours, like I just did it myself, and it definitely does get a little bit harder as it goes on. So you're right, it might just be one less thing they have to worry about. Now the question is, will either of these two pull into the pits at the end of this lap? Oh, we'll ignore that. There we go. We'll have another take at that. What's Concio going to do? He looks to be holding right. He's dived into the pits. Speedy has followed him straight in, so not wanting to split strategy at the moment. Both of their tyres pretty well worn out. Both of their fuel levels are down. Again, I don't want to give too much strategy away, but we will keep an eye on... I'd suggest both of them have to take fuel. Keep an eye on how much they take. Okay, so neither of them elected to top the tank, and in fact they both took a very similar amount of time to get through. It'd be nice if Gran Turismo actually had a real pit lane, and you could see the car in front of you and kind of respond, and as Concio bolted then, Speedy could have gone, right, well I'll just take as much fuel as I can until I see Concio go, and then I'm going to go as well. Doesn't work out, but the gap maintains 1.5 seconds as Tricky Brewer in third position also comes into the pits. He is out of juice and fresh tyres. Just having a really solid race. Just sitting there in third, getting the job done. Lap times are relatively good. Not sure if I trust those pit markers saying he pitted on lap 6 and again on 8. I don't think that's quite right. Oh, there we go. Now he's pitted on most of the laps he's raced. So I think we can ignore that on the right-hand side. And he gets out 6.5 seconds in front of Psycho Smiley, who is also on fresh tyres. So this is actually a legitimate battle. Dive bomb there, not too dissimilar. So there we go. The battle for third is a little bit closer than I anticipated. Tricky Brewer 6.5 seconds from Dive Bomb, who is in turn 5.7 seconds in front of Keefe. But Dive Bomb and Psycho Smiley are seemingly locked into a battle at the moment. Keefe 9.5 seconds up the road from Mikey Michelson, who is just doing his thing. Just dropped off the back of Keefe there. Fresh out of the pits though, so he's on nice fresh tyres. He'll be pushing pretty hard to try and catch back up and go for 6th or even 5th, given that they're both together. Junior, they're still just having a fairly lonely old race, but that's fine. Putting in good laps. He's on green sectors there, as we can see. And I reckon most people now are sort of getting fueled. Possibly, no, they couldn't possibly be fueling to the end of the race. We are the halfway distance, lap 9 there. You can see BTC carrying a little bit more fuel than the other competitors around him. So that might serve him quite well. He might make up a lot of that deficit that he's got back to 8th. Nick Magic well and truly it looks like he's due for a pit stop. He does not have a huge amount of fuel left and he is only halfway around the ring. So he's got a fair bit to do. Does it show litres anywhere? Can I see how many litres of fuel he's actually got? No, what if I go on board? Does that make a difference? Oh, have a look at that horrible interior. Imagine if I could lock it to interior only. That's such a horrible dash. But it doesn't tell me how many litres of fuel he has. But I can tell you now he absolutely will be pitting. What do we got? Buffer in 11th spot. He'll be chasing Nick Magic down. He is running his fuel down, but he's got a couple of laps in him. Tyres look relatively fresh, so he'll make up a big chunk of that gap to Nick, given that he's going to have to take on some fuel. Supreme is currently on his best lap by a long way. 4.5 seconds up on his best lap. His lap times do suggest he's had a bit of trouble with consistency. And the Kazi won in 13th, which is now the final spot in the race. But he's doing okay. He's just doing his thing. He showed a bit of pace earlier, so we'll see how he goes. See if he can catch up to Supreme and fight for 12th.
Hello.
In the meantime, at the front, Conzio, 0.7. Hello, welcome back, sir. Solid half a second gap. The battle for the lead, man, it's on.
It is
on. Every time I think Conzio stretches his legs, Speedy just catches back up.
And I missed a few pit stops at the front today. Looks like it.
Yep. Yeah, so we've had a couple of pits. These guys dived in at the same time. And the battle for third is actually relatively close. You got Tricky Brewer there, who's fresh out of the pits. He's only 3.7 seconds in front of Dive Bomb, and who is in turn 1.7 seconds in front of Psycho Smiley. So third, fourth, and fifth are, given the length of the race and the length of the lap, I would call that relatively close together on track. So it will be good to see who grabs those positions. But yeah, the battle for the leads just got me hooked. It's a real ding donger actually.
And I do.
Hey Random, what's going on, man?
Dive Bombs probably is behind a net P5, I think.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Thing with TCS, if you are trying to be really quick, is you have to work on not engaging it, which is kind of the same as not using it. Yeah, I completely agree, MGH. Obviously, in the long run, on Gran Turismo Sport, it is quicker to run no traction control. That doesn't always bode to be the truth if you look at something like Assetto Corsa Competizione. You're often, and iRacing as well, you're generally much faster with some TCS on. I mean, remember, real GT3 cars do actually run with traction control turned on.
Yeah. Oh.
But in Gran Turismo Sport, being the single entity that it is, traction control does have a huge impact on your overall lap times.
I generally run on 1, I think, if I remember correctly.
Oh, do you? Okay. Yep. Oh, no. Is that Conzio really off?
No,
it's not. No. It seemed to lag on it for so long. I was like, okay, this one might be real. Damn it, Conzio. You keep doing it to us, man.
And I believe GTE does have traction control, it just doesn't have ABS, so that'll be the main differences there, along with a few other small things. But yeah, you do need it. I remember doing the Daytona 24-hour. There was a lot of management in that actually for traction control. Started off quite low, but you just end up just gradually increasing it just every so often. He's another couple half hour here, increase it a little bit more. It's normal. It's just normal things that you have to do.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely, you just work with it. But Gran Turismo Sport doesn't quite work in the same way. And I was like you, GTA. When I first got this game, I actually ran traction control on 2 for a very, very long time. I made the decision I was losing out because you could hear the traction control kicking in as you're trying to punch off the corners. So I dialed it back to 1, and the gap between 0 and 1 is not actually that big. The gap between 1 and 2 on traction control is huge. From 2, you can just flatten the throttle everywhere. 1, you've got to feather it. And as I was getting used to 1, I thought, I wonder if it's a great deal different with none. So I turned traction control off, and I really didn't think there's a huge difference between none and 1, so I just turned it off. But yeah, I did start. Oh, you were on the gamepad back then. Yeah, I think on the controller, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder to run no traction control, for sure.
So the gap stand...
Yeah, 1 and 0 are really similar.
The gap stand as it is. Super Dragon saying he can't use TCS anymore, so he must be on 0. While I went and I grabbed myself a nice packet of cheese and onion crisps.
Nice
and
one.
Did I see something there? Did I see blue flags? Oh, maybe not.
Blue flags?
Just on the pit wall, I saw blue flags being waved, but I'm not sure what it was for.
No. I don't think we've had our first lap car yet.
No.
But mate, I am also just going to take a quick 2 or 3 minute break. Go and do my things. I need to fill my drink bottle up because that's empty.
Now that you can pee freely?
Now that I can pee freely, I'll go for a pee. I've smashed 2 beers since the start of this race, so... I mean, lemon... it's 2
lemonade
sodas.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I had.
Would have been a bit early for me to do that, considering it's only 10 to 1 in the afternoon.
Yep. Yeah, that's a fair call. For me, it's 10 to 10 on a Sunday evening. I've done my race. I think I can sit back and have a couple of lemon squashes, and that's what I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, give me 3 or 4 minutes, and I'll be right back, man. It won't be long.
Cool. We'll stick with chat here as Charlie goes off. GTR was so sad when I ran out of water on lap 15. I mean, it's not too bad. Yeah, you only had a few left to go. It'd be different if you ran out of water on lap 5. MGF on beer 7. Well, you are really going through them at a good rate now at this stage. Good to see. What else would you be doing? Piosco, so TCS 0 and 1 control traction during turning, exit especially. Yeah, I actually agree with that. I define just TCS on 1 for me just seems to be a happy balance. I tend, and anyone that's raced with me before will know I tend to have quite a heavy right foot. So I use fuel quite a lot and I use my tyres quite a lot. So I do generally need that extra little bit of TCS help. Of course, on the wheel, if I was on the pad, I'd probably have to go a little bit higher with that as well. And but yeah, it's definitely an individual preference. But obviously, the less TCS you have in this game, definitely the faster you're going to go. Carlton, oh jeez, I don't know if I'd be a fan. But as we go there, let's have a quick run through. I know you're not going to see it on the stream, because I can't control that, but let's have a quick look. Conzio is still in the lead by half a second. A few slides there from Speedy. He's actually lost this half a second. He's now down to a second. Big gap then to Tricky Brewer, 54 seconds to round off the current podium, who is 4 seconds ahead of Psycho Smiley. And again, completely different strategy regarding fuel going on. I didn't mention anything, but they are different. In P5, we have Mikey Michaelton. He's got a little bit of free air, 14 seconds behind P4, but we do have GTR Dive Bombs, who is only roughly around 3 seconds down the road behind them. So that's quite close there, and we have seen throughout this race that the guys were quite close and kept together. They have put a bit of a gap though on Kafifi. So he is about 5.5 seconds just off them in P7. And then we have Junior. Junior is having a very lonely race. He is 35 seconds between anyone, either in front or behind them. So he's good consistency. He's really good consistency actually in his race, but he is just there. He's plowing along, having a quiet race to himself. BTC 77 is in P9, and we have again quite a big gap there to go to Nick Magic in the Yeetle, who looks to have just pitted actually, because he's got some nice fuel and he also has some nice tires. We have GRT Supremed, who is 7 seconds down the road from Nick Magic, who is also very close to Buffa. Now, very, very big difference in strategy. It looks like Buffa is going to be pitting because his fuel is really bad. It's actually flashing red. So he's going to need to pit at the end of this lap. He's on the Dodger Straight. So Supremed should be fine, although his tyres are not looking good. And then we have the Kazi one down the road from that as well, and that brings us back to, that's the full field. And going back to the start here, it does look like the Conzio has pulled out a bit of a gap to Speedy. Yeah, Luca, you're saying the M6 is a lot less settled, and you know what, by the looks of the people who have the M6 in this race, it does look to be a bit of a handful in the hands of the drivers there. So yeah, it used to be quite stable. I remember I actually did a few races with the M6 back at the early days of GT Sport, and it was definitely the car to be in at the time. So interesting to see the change around these parts for the balance of power. But yeah, well done Luca on your race.
Yeah, well done, Luca. Good job. Good job, man. I see nothing's changed at the front of this one.
And Super Dragon, both really good results from race one. Yeah. Super Dragon, obviously, especially with the good battle, really good battle.
Yep. No, it was good.
Sinister 69, Randy M6 on last year's FIAs. Yeah, a lot changed since then.
Yeah, are you talking about BOP?
Yeah, just because the guys were saying that the M6 is definitely a lot less settled, and I was just saying from the people that's actually racing it in this race, it does definitely look like that it's a bit of a handful. And so does the Merc, to be honest, and that was one of the best cars in the game.
Yeah, I did do a practice lap before I settled on the Mazda, although I did always want to take the Mazda. I did do one quick lap in the Merc, and it felt pretty good. It felt alright for me, but I suppose we best check down the field, because these two are just sitting there. It's just a tactical play. It's nice that they're running together, but it's not really quite a battle yet. We'll keep an eye on it as the race goes on. But Tricky Brewer's still holding down third, 3.5 seconds. So that gap's actually stayed pretty consistent. Putting in a good time there. 8:22 his last lap is a nice time there in the Hyundai. Psycho Smiley, though, does have a gap now. I think Dive Bomb was due a pit, and yeah, it looks like he's taken it. So Psycho Smiley there, keeping Tricky Brewer honest. Dive Bomb actually only 2.6 seconds ahead of Mikey Michelson, so looks like they are on quite different pit strategies in terms of fuel. Obviously, everyone will need to pit still in this race. And then Keefe is in 7th position, just off the back of these two. And also looks like he might be coming up to a pit stop pretty shortly. The Nissan actually does look pretty solid. I thought the
Yeah,
the Nissan
Joe
has
was
been
actually
ahead.
saying that it's got better after the latest BOP update.
Right. Interesting.
And because I did pick the GTO one time for FIAs, I think it was last year at least, and I immediately regretted that decision.
Yeah, I had a jaunt with the GTR myself, and I didn't like it at the time. It understeered like a pig. It didn't handle well at all. And when the game first sort of came out, it always had those handling characteristics, but it had a lot of grunt, had a lot of horsepower behind it, so you could sort of try and make up. But they seemingly nerfed it a bit as Keefe does go into the pits. I thought he was coming out due in the Nissan, but yeah, they seemingly took some of the power away, but didn't improve the handling much. But it might be alright. It looks nice and solid behind the hands of Keefe.
Now I don't know what I missed, but the gap has actually increased to 2.5 seconds up front. So Speedy's had an issue somewhere. It may be a bit of a tank slapper maybe somewhere.
So it has. They've been holding that second down. I mean, look at the consistency coming out of Conzio though. 8.14, 8.16, which was pretty much the same pace before the pit stop. 8.13, 8.16. So just he's making it hard. Speedy would be pushing hard. Yeah, last up was an 8.17, and 8.13 before that, which is quick. That is so close. 8.13.4. Should that not be the fastest lap of the race, or is it
Unless that
just
was
ducked over to Kazi having a spin there?
Unless that was the pit stop, but that's a very, very quick pit stop. Then it probably is though.
It must be 38 and then 8.13, so that would have been his outlap. So 8.17 was his first one back, and 8.16.3 to Conzio.
It's still an impressive pace though overall between the two of them, very close.
Yeah, no worries, Mr. Big Wang. It's a pleasure. I hope you guys are enjoying the event, and a big thank you to Conzio as well, who's jumped in to help co-commentate. This would have been a hell of a thing to do by myself. I think I would have struggled, to be honest. A solid 6-hour stream with me talking the whole time. You guys have been sick of hearing me, and I'd get sick of talking, I reckon.
Yeah, I just realised that it was actually Mr. Big Wang, and I've just been saying MBR all the time.
That's alright, I wasn't going to point it out.
It's good.
He knew who you were talking to.
Words are definitely hard.
Yeah, they are. But yeah, thank you to everyone who has joined and watched this. Watch race 1, watch race 2 as well. It's been a pleasure having you guys come along. I know it's getting late, 10 p.m. I haven't actually had dinner yet. Haven't eaten since lunch, so I'll have to make the decision if I eat dinner after this or if I just go to bed and hope for the best.
So it's always difficult when you lie in bed and you're just hungry.
Yeah, I know, that's what I mean. Yeah, so Speedy does have an 8.11 on lap 5, but that must have been fresh out of the pits. It was. So lap 4 was an 8.29. That would have been his pit in lap, and 8.11 was his out lap. So the 8.15 was his fastest, 8.15.7. And his pace is exceptional, it really is. But Conzio has just continued to push on. But I like that there's a solid battle at the front. I think if Conzio just had to run away with it early and there was no challenger, it would have been even harder for us to commentate too. Cogan.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's nice to have a bit of a nice battle going on in the front. We've literally no idea who's going to win this race, which is fantastic to know. And I'm still thinking that I don't know who is going to be on the top step or the last step of the podium either, because it's just, I think the fuel is just so different at the minute between the two of them. Not going to say who has two.
So much.
They have, yeah. So the gap is still only 3.3 seconds. It's still very close. I do think
really is. I mean,
the two guys up top, though, they really need to do something wrong for them to lose 1 and 2
I mean,
anyway.
they're a full minute up the road. It would have to go. I mean, Speedy has got to be seeing these weird things Conzio does with the lag, and it keeps running off and hitting the wall and reappearing. Speedy has got to be seeing that as well, and that would be distracting the living hell out of me if that was me.
And also the times that he would have seen him in the wall and thinking, yes, I've got him.
Yeah.
And then he just jumps straight back and forth again.
Yeah. Oh, he's really throwing this car around the track to try and keep up. But, yeah, they just yo-yo so much. The gap widens and then close. It's, as he does officially clock over 1 minute gap back to Tricky Brewer. So these two having a ding-dong battle. 7 more laps to find out which one of these two is going to blink first and make a mistake. You managed at 8:17, Super Dragon, trying to chase me on lap 17. Nice. He said it was really distracting. Oh, you're in the chat with him. Yeah, okay, cool. Drop your DR into the second split where I would do
Hey, Jesus, it's been so long since I've done any official races. I don't even know what mine is. I'm pretty sure I'm in A class and ANS.
Yeah, I'm AS. I got up right up towards A+, and then I just didn't. I had a couple of I think I had one bad night where I had 3 or 4 races. It was on stream, and I just lost thousands of DR and dropped right back off that. And honestly, I haven't really played Gran Turismo much at all. Even the video I recently uploaded onto my YouTube, that was quite recent, but I recorded the race weeks and weeks ago, months ago even.
I tell you what.
So MGH, yours is 58k or something.
Just check mine there.
I'm touching myself.
It's 38,958.
I think that's roughly where mine is, about 38,000. Thank you very much for the tip, Mojo. Much appreciated, man. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Smacking in 10 Aussie dollar he does, I reckon, if I do the maths quickly. Do well at dailies though, so it hangs around the 60k mark. Yeah, okay.
60k.
In Oceania, A+ is almost guaranteed top split. Yeah, basically.
That's high though. 60k that's impressive.
That is.
I'm seeing yellow flags
I must admit,
here.
I was. Yeah, I don't know what that was for.
Are we? Oh, I tell you what. There's cars up ahead that is on the GT track, Charlie. We are actually going to have lapped traffic. We will
there we
have
go. Kazi 1. No, Kazi 1's behind him. So they have already lapped the Kazi 1. Because he's just gone through those first turns. Yeah. So we do have a lap car, and it looks like Supreme was stuck in the wall there, and he's actually just left the room. So I'm not sure if he lagged out or if he smashed it and just went, that's enough. It's getting around that time where their butts and backs and everything else are going to be starting to hurt, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've made top split a number of times when my I was only at like 48, 50,000, and I was making top split and it sucked. I actually wanted to drop DR and go back to second split. The problem with the top split is that's all fine and well and good to grind hard and get your DR up there, but if you get put in top split and you don't have the pace, and I wasn't doing the practice to have the pace to run with those guys, so in second split I could genuinely fight for a top 5 or even a top 3 position. As soon as I got in top split, it was like the best I could hope for was a top 10. So it didn't suit me being in top split.
Yeah, I'd never been in a top split for the EMEA stuff. They're just too fast.
No, I don't have the pace for the top split either. That was my problem. Once you start getting put up against the big knobs of the GT world in the Oceania split, and I did drop into the top a few times, it was not fun. Yeah. I wasn't fighting for a good position.
The only thing is, if you have a really good race, sometimes like I don't mind being in, up there, but still mid pack. If I have a really close battle every time, like I'd rather stay there than just be, up front and on my own.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I was never that dominant in second split to guarantee wins. But that was good. That was where I was happy being underneath the top split. Because I could actually have a genuine ding-dong battle, and the amount of practice I was putting in meant that I could fight for genuine top 5s and top 3s. But yeah, top split was beyond me.
And still only a 1 second gap between Conzio and Speedy, which is just ridiculous. 12 laps into a Nurburgring.
I mean, they're really just driving together at the moment, are they? I don't anticipate an overtake unless Conzio makes a mistake. I think Speedy's happy just sitting there, pacing himself off him and monitoring fuel and tyres. And again, I'm not going to give it away because these two can probably hear the stream, but there is a difference in fuel and tyres to the opposite ways.
Yeah.
One of them is better on fuel and one of them is better on tyres. So
it's going to be a very interesting last lap. That's all we know.
Yeah, I agree with that. They're still going to have a right good crack at it. I've seen high 40s drivers in third now too, so it depends a lot, yeah. It was like me when they were still combined with the Asia and the FIA. Japanese drivers were being forced to overtake me in quali. Yikes. Oh, so Supreme has come back in, so I'd suggest he didn't just quit. He got disconnected, so that's another DC. Sorry to say that.
Yeah, and unfortunately it's not going to let him join again, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. Would be nice if you could just pull back out, and whatever time you've lost, you've lost.
Yeah.
It should reserve your spot in the race, though, shouldn't it?
Just put you into the pits.
Yeah.
But we can...
I haven't really, though, Piosco. They don't know. They can see what their tyre and fuel wear is. But they don't know. They don't know who's worse on fuel and who's worse on tyres. Because they've both worn some tyre off and they've both worn some fuel off. And one of them has more fuel than the other, and one of them is better on tyres. So I don't think that gives anything away, unless I'm missing something.
No, I'd think the same.
I don't think it would matter which one you looked at. Hearing that, they'd go, well, I wonder if I'm burning less or more fuel and if my tyres are better or worse. Internet connection has a bit to do with stuff in the race, unfortunately. It does a little bit, yeah. Japanese drivers are amazing at quality. You kind of get the impression they spend all their time practicing one lap pace. I'm really sorry, guys. My game shut down on me. That's okay, dude. It's no dramas. You don't have to be sorry. It's unfortunate for you. I'm sorry that's how your race ended, but...
No, you got a good spectator view for the end of the race.
Now, we have a new battle for the third and final step of the podium, which is this is what I was wanting to happen.
Yes.
Tricky Brew did have a nice big gap over Psycho Smiley, but it is now less than a second.
I wonder what something happened there, maybe, yeah. It was a couple of seconds, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 4 seconds last time we checked in on them. Now, they're 11 seconds up the road from Dive Bomb, so they've got a decent gap over him, but again, without giving anything away, they're not all on the same fuel strategy.
Yeah, and this did change essentially from, what was it, lap 3, I think.
Yeah.
Was where this strat change actually happened. So, very interesting to see what happens here.
It is, and even though Dive Bombs is 11 and a half seconds back, with the strategies, once they play out, he might find himself back up with them, but I reckon Tricky Brewer must have made a mistake to allow Psycho Smiley to get that much closer to him. If I were in the race, I would be listening to the stream. Yeah, and I think most people do. The feedback I've seen. 5 hours of streaming, I know, right?
It's
been a long
one. Oh, Jesus. I just flicked the Conzio again. I was in the wall and it's like, what? Oh, no.
Yeah, I think the feedback I've got over the last couple of years when I do these events is that people do listen to the stream, so I'm always pretty conscious. I used to just say things like that guy's got heaps of fuel or whatever the case is, but you give strategy away, so I'm really trying not to. You guys can see, the viewers can see, but the way I'm flicking back and forth, the racers can't see. I try not to do it on places like the Don Joe as well, the long straight, where they can look over at the stream and go, oh, that's what he's doing. But there's no avoiding that to a degree. If I'm on board with Tricky Brewer here, for example, then Smiley can look over at the stream and see where his tyres are. So there's no avoiding that, but if they're concentrating hard enough, they shouldn't be looking at the stream.
Yeah, exactly. There's not a lot of places around here you can just I'll just have a quick glance over here.
Unsurprisingly, Luca was not listening during the race because he couldn't afford to risk any bandwidth. And it was a risk that paid off, Luca, because you had a solid race, man, and your internet stayed crisp the whole time.
Up in the front.
Actually, the front too. Yeah, dived in the pits. And it was a 2.5 second gap as they pitted, so I'm wondering if someone made a little
and you're gonna
mistake.
You're going to see, and that's actually going to balance itself off there, because you'll see the fuel difference between the two of them.
Will Conzio gets out of the pits 2.1 seconds in front of Speedy.
So,
but
I was expecting that gap to disappear there. So, I think, unless Speedy thinks he's going to go through more fuel than he thought. Or,
well, there it is. No, what's going on? Conzio going very slowly. No. But see, again, I think Speedy had to pull out to overtake then. I think it looked like he moved offline to try and overtake Conzio because that's where it was showing him that he was. So Speedy's in 2 races tonight. He's battling against Conzio, and he's battling against Conzio's internet connection. He's got a bit on.
Yes, he's doing well. He's doing well. But yet again, I'm thinking, oh, yes, something's wrong. Oh, no.
You still get FIA disconnects? Yeah, I was too. As I say, I really haven't spent a huge amount of time in Gran Turismo, really this whole year. We're 5 months in now. And right at the start of the year, I did a bit. Look at that, 4th, 5th and 6th all pit together. So this will actually be really good.
Yeah, so Cycled Smiley, so he was obviously in P4 behind Tricky Brewer. This is going to be his last stop. No, it's not actually.
So Psycho Smiley is out of the pits. He is 4th position.
Yes.
And this is where that strategy
is going to play.
Is paying off.
Because Tricky Brewer obviously still has to pit.
Well, I think they all do. I don't think anyone's going to the end of the race from here.
True, yeah.
It's how much fuel they take on board in that final pit stop. And what I'm seeing there is that 2 of these people potentially don't need to take fuel, and one of them I think probably will.
Correct.
But I'm not going to say who.
And Mikey Michaelton and Dive Bombs actually that's really close. I didn't expect them to be so close there.
Yeah. Just a second apart between Dive Bomb and Mikey, and only 5 seconds behind Psycho Smiley. But what it has allowed is for Tricky Brewer to disappear up there in 3rd position. So they must have caught him because he did a pit stop. He would have known that listening to us, but obviously we didn't. But he stayed out and he's now 20. He's 19.8 seconds up the road. So that's the reason why he fell back. Having said that, he may well be due a pit stop himself. So he'll have to push on this lap. Do a solid one if he wants to try and stay in front of the 3 people. So it's good. I think we're actually going to have a couple of battles here towards the end, and that's the thing with endurance racing. You don't have battles from start to finish. Strategies play out, and at the end, in the last lap, that's where we see where people are at.
So Super Dragon's in a party chat with the guys as well on the system. So that's obviously where they're saying that he got very confused with the lag.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that essentially gives those guys a spotter as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Super Dragon will be able to spot for Speedy as well and give him all the deets, but that doesn't matter. We're not going to do it.
Well, they're in the party chat, but I don't think I don't think Super Dragon's listening here. I'm not sure. Or maybe he is. Maybe he's doing. But he's multitasking. That's what a good spotter should do.
Yeah, absolutely. I find it to be the best balance between sim and fun of any game I have played. Gran Turismo, yeah. Look, it has its pros. It has its pros and cons for sure. Its online setup.
Yeah, I think
is the best of anything.
The biggest challenge now to it whenever it comes out next month. I think that's going to be, it's the biggest threat that Gran Turismo has faced on the PS4.
I mean, yes and no. Yes, because I think it's a fantastic sim, and anyone that really wants to get into genuine sim races is probably going to make the switch to ACC. But ACC, I don't think is going to have the same online setup, and the strength of Gran Turismo Sport is not so much car physics and tyre models. Oh dear! No, Smiley! He's around. He is around, and both Mikey and Dive Bomb sneak up the inside. Dive Bomb now all over the back of Mikey. Psycho Smiley is there, having recovered from that spin. So we do actually have 4th, 5th, and 6th. Nose to tail on the track.
Huge issue for Psycho Smiley there. That actually has cost him massively.
It has. It really has.
I remember this is Psycho Smiley is the one that could potentially have taken the podium here. So that really cost. But Dive Bomb's in a bit of an issue there too. Got really wide.
Yeah, interesting little play. You'd love this scene, wouldn't you? Just a sea of green as I look over those three cars.
Yeah, well, they've just picked up the proper, really.
You would think that. Green's obviously the colour of choice for this year's round. Keep on Tricky Brewer, how's he going? Okay. I'm looking forward with bated breath to see how this plays out. Mind you, it's a great racing simulator once you reach high enough DR and SA to have good races. Mind you, not a great driving simulator. A great racing sim. That's pretty much it, Luca. It's as I was saying, Gran Turismo's strength lies in its online setup. The daily races that are all match made. You don't have to have friends. You don't have to join a club. You can just turn it on, jump into a lobby, and you can be racing against other people. And they tick over all day, so there's always a time slot you can run into. Throw in the official FIA races. Again, they're match made. You go out and do your practice, you join, bang. The only other game that does a similar thing and does it better, to be honest, is iRacing.
Yeah. I think MGH has it kind of right in the nose there that not even the real driving racers can really kind of just nail down what the best sim is.
Best sim, yeah.
Because everything is getting closer. I mean,
it is, yeah.
So much has improved this gen in regards to racing. Like realistically, before this gen, it was just iRacing on PC. That's it. And Assetto Corsa as well for certain things, and that was it. You had nothing else. Whereas now, obviously,
well, you had R Factor and you had Race Room.
Yeah, but on a PC though, there was nothing on console that came anywhere close.
Correct.
Whatsoever.
Correct. Project Cars 2 had a run up at it, but they good game for what it was at the time. And it introduced weather and day-night cycles and lots of racing features that Gran Turismo Sport doesn't offer. However, it doesn't have the same robust online system as Gran Turismo Sport, and the physics and handling of it probably weren't quite. I don't even think they're quite as good as Gran Turismo Sport.
For which?
Similar but different. That's for Project Cars 2.
Yeah, it to me it took a step backwards in the second one, and it was actually lapped traffic here. If you have a look, Dive Bombs and Mickey is really going to need to get past here. Is he going to get past? Is he going to move past? He's not. Blue flags, ignoring the blue flags.
Dive Bomb is taking all kinds of a little bit of contact there.
Oh, not a good. This is not the place to pass here either. So we're going to have to be patient.
It's not. Yeah, but this is why I didn't ghost lap traffic. The specific reason.
He's lost
Oh no! He's around multiple spins. Huge for Mikey there.
And I think we'd have to put the blame down to the back marker there for ignoring the black.
Oh,
person.
dive bomb just absolutely
dive bomb.
punts him out of the way. That's a bit. That looked a bit questionable from that angle. That did look like he just yeeted that back marker out of the way, which is not the way to handle him. The whole thing with handling back. The reason I didn't ghost him is because you don't get ghosting in real racing, and you don't get ghosting in iRacing, endurance racing. If you come up against back marker, you got to overtake him. And that's where I think, unfortunately, Mikey tried to do the right thing and be patient. Dive bomb, it looked like he just fed him into the wall to get him out of the way, to be honest. But
yeah, that was unfortunate there. I do think the back marker should have moved out of the way a lot sooner than he did by refusing to move out of his line. But yes, there's definitely better ways to pass back markers, all right. In the meantime,
it was certainly clumsy.
Psycho Smiley is really stuck on the back of dive bombs here, and Tricky Brewer is in the pits. He will need to take a kill. He has come in with 0 liters. Oh, he
that was as close as you can get. Yeah.
Coasted.
I didn't want to say anything, but I think he might have dropped behind 3rd and 4th here. I think, this is going to be tight out of the pits. This is going to be very, very tight. There is Tricky Brewer coming out of the pits. He's going to have no pace and cold tyres. Dive bomb just slightly ahead of Psycho Smiley there. They are, only 1.1 seconds back with nice fresh tyres. We're on. We've got us a genuine battle for 3rd here. 4 laps of the race remaining. So I think Tricky Brewer can go to the end of the race. The question is, can Dive Bomb and Psycho Smiley, can they make it to the end of the race? They'd be close. They'd be bloody close.
They will.
This may well be a pit stop free battle to the flag now for 3rd spot. And look how close it is.
Yes, that's pretty much uncallable as to who is going to get the final spot at this podium. Dive Bombs is obviously, he's already on full speed. Tricky Brewer is still trying to get up to 10th here. Oh, is he going to go in the inside? No, he's pulled back. He's pulled back.
He backed out of it. Side by side, you don't want to be there.
No, you're going to cost yourself more time than anything by going on the outside.
See those nice fresh tyres though, just biting a little bit harder. On the outside, side by side, he's going to have to get the manoeuvre done, and I think he is. He's got it done in time. So Tricky Brewer.
And he
goes to dive. Oh, he thought about it. He thought about it. That was a... Geez, that would be a tough spot to overtake on. But so far, the gamble for Dive Bombs has paid off. And I might explain why he fed the back marker into the wall to make sure he was here to capture that position. And of course, Psycho Smiley's there as well. So this is a genuine battle, 3-way battle for 3rd spot. Brilliant. That's what I wanted.
Correct.
Yeah, they were all spaced out so much of the race.
And pending lag, we'll find out where Conzi was. He's actually only 0.6 of a second ahead of Speedy.
Yeah, so Speedy hasn't let him get away either. Jeez, this is building up to be a massive finish, isn't it?
It is. Big time.
I don't think Speedy would be pushing at the moment to try and overtake Conzio. I think he's happy sitting there. And I doubt Conzio is pushing too hard to bridge the gap, because he would have tried a few times already. I think they're just... This is the calm before the storm. I reckon they're both just happy sitting there, just racing with each other for now, and they'll leave the fireworks to the end. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I agree. I think 3rd, 4th and 5th are just going balls out and trying as best as they absolutely can. But yes, definitely, I do think that Speedy's biding time, and I think it's going to be a really interesting last lap here.
Yeah, so do I. I think... is that... I completely agree. I think the front two are just playing a big game of chess. Conzio's just setting the pace, and I doubt he's setting the world on fire. He's just going about his business, and Speedy's just hanging on the back, and I reckon they're saving their battle for the end. But the interesting thing is Tricky Brewer looked to have 3rd place pretty comfortable there, and he's found himself in a battle, and I suspect this is going to be a battle to the flag. I don't think any of them... Yeah. very similar on fuel. Very similar. I don't think I'm ruining the race by saying the three of them are very similar on fuel.
Yeah.
Almost the same.
All very well. They did come out of the pits pretty much together, and to be honest, if they were paying attention, obviously you can see what fuel you have and what you're filling to while you're in the pits for other cars as well. So
yeah,
if you were paying attention, you would have seen it there. Dive Bomb's getting up a bit of a gap.
He is. The only thing I'm thinking, Tricky Brewer, like they've all got similar fuel, so I think they're fueled to the end. But Tricky Brewer did one more lap on the old tyres, which means at the end of the race on the final lap, his tyres are going to be in better nick than the two around him.
Correct, and he did. He really did plan out his pit stops perfectly there. So he has a strategy. He's probably going to stick to it, and it does make sense not to push like crazy at this stage, with still another pit step to go.
For the top two, yes, they do. They do. So whilst third, fourth, and fifth are fueled to the end, and sixth as well. How did Mikey? He's 14 seconds back, so he will be a little bit gutted there. That happened. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't quite catch how it all unfolded, but we did see him spinning and bouncing off the walls. So unfortunately for him, I think his battle for third might be about over. Yeah. But you never know. It's a long race.
Let's take a look back at Junior, who's still in his... he's had a very lonely race. Junior's pretty much had a 2.4-hour practice session.
He has. I'd be interested to know if he have seen another car since the first two laps. I don't reckon he has.
I don't think he has either. He's a minute in front of him, and he's 2 minutes behind him with no other cars around. He's had
he'd be sitting there going, have I DC'd? Like, am I still racing with these guys, or have I dropped out or something?
Yeah, if you are listening,
Junior, you are still there. You're still there, mate. You just have had this incredible knack of finding all the space in the world. The whole race.
Welcome back, Cam.
Hey, Cam.
And, a 3-second gap has appeared at the front.
A 3 second, okay, it has too. So Speedy, I'd suggest, has made a little bit of an error there.
Yeah.
But I reckon it's going to be a splash and dash for these guys. I think we can both agree that they both need to pit.
Yeah.
Before the end of the race. But I think, they're going to do it with about... Oh, you'd have to split it, which is what I did, because I only went 3 and 3 for my last two stints, even though I'd been going 4 laps. I reckon these guys are going to do the same. I'd suggest they'll complete this lap, pit, and do 3 more laps on a fresh set of tyres. But yeah, again, their fuel levels are slightly different. I don't know how much difference it'll make in the pits when they stop.
That's going to be it then. I think that's going to be the main decider, and then obviously, as we said, the last 1 to 2 laps is going to be balls out, I think. As Conzio does a purple sector.
Yes, slides in for another purple. So he's on it. He's made his mind up that now is the time to break away.
Yeah,
I said before, I think he was holding station. It's hammer time. 8:15 was his last lap. 8:16 then 8:15.
Oh,
so he's on it.
Changes have happened. Tricky Brewer is now in P3 and Dive Bombs is P5. Something has happened there. He's had an incident. Didn't see it.
He has. Smiley and Brewer have both got past him.
I would say that it was probably self-inflicted because he did have around a 1.5 to 2 seconds of a gap. So nobody would have hit him. And Tricky Brewer is going to get done by Psycho Smiley here.
Yeah, he has done him in. Just on pace.
Yeah, and this is...
Dive Bombs in the slipstream as well, but no, not enough.
Not enough, but it is close. Oh,
Dive Bomb has somehow... he somehow made a pass there in the bloody... In the Tiergarten. He has sent that from 3 postcodes back. And luckily, Tricky Brewer's obviously seen him coming, got out of the way. That's a hell of a spot to overtake, but he's made it work with no contact.
Psycho Smiley's gone defensive, but is there going to be enough? Can he break late enough? He has he does on the inside. He just about.
Jesus. You see Tricky Brewer's keen to get back past him as well.
He is, yes. And again,
living up to his name of the dive bomber. He's come from 2 weeks back, that bloke. He has. To make that stick in the Tiergarten, I mean, that took a fair amount of
he's going on the outside
from Tricky Brewer.
He's going on the outside, but it's coming in.
This will be the long way around.
Yeah, he's on the wrong side, unfortunately, for there. Oh, but
he does the over and under, though, and he makes it stick.
He did. Psycho went a bit wide.
Back into third. Jump on board with Tricky Brewer. Jesus. That was a tidy little move, wasn't it?
It was.
Down the outside, forced Psycho Smiley to take to the inside.
Can the Big Aston get in the slipstream here just before the chicane? But I tell you what, Tricky Brewer is actually closer.
Yeah, he's on it. And remember, his tyres are a lap fresher. So as the race goes on, the two in front of him will start to feel the pain of those tyres. And Tricky's in a pretty good spot there.
He might.
They've got 3 laps to go.
He might actually just be staying there and biding his time.
The old 1-2 switcheroo.
Now, as for the guys up front, the gap is now 3.1 seconds between Conzio and Speedy.
Conzio's trying to break him. Oh no, 2.8.
Oh,
down to 2.8 now.
Yeah, he's a bit of a gap there, but we do know these guys do have to pit, and it's going to be at the end of this lap.
Yeah, I think it is. I think both of them are going to have to pit at the end of this lap. I doubt either of them have enough fuel to do another.
But third, fourth, and fifth is anyone's game at this stage. Any mistake whatsoever from them, and it's going to be it.
Well, Dive Bomb's still with his windshield wipers on, because that's very important in a game like Entries, mate.
Yeah.
Where it could rain at any moment. He's actually pushing. He's pushing really hard. I think he's trying to break these other two. Especially Tricky Brewer, that's the one he's got to keep his eye on. If he can use Psycho Smiley as a bit of a buffer to pull a gap, then it means even if Tricky Brewer's tyres are better on the final lap, if he has to overtake Smiley and then catch a second or two up to Dive Bombs, he's gonna have to stress his own tyres to do that. Having said that, they're both sticking with.
They are.
So this is a 3-way battle.
They're still in the slipstream, I think. Just about. We know that Mercedes does have a lot of grunt, especially exiting the corners. So I think that's really where he pulls out a little bit of a gap there. Oh,
a little bit of contact.
He's still behind. He might have just pulled back just a little bit there. But Tricky Brewer, he's on a mission to try and get past here.
Wow, I think he can see that Dive Bombs is trying to pull away at the front there. And I think he's seeing that third position disappear. If he gets stuck behind Smiley too long, he may miss the opportunity. But they do still have 3 full laps of the Nordschleife. It's not exactly a short amount of time left. They've still got the better part of, 24 minutes or something to go.
Yeah.
So patience is a virtue. Oh, that was close to the grass. He ran out wide there. You can see him get way off the throttle.
Yeah, grass physics still something of a challenge for sim racers.
Yes.
And up front, the gap has closed to 0.8 of a second. The 3 seconds has disappeared completely for whatever happened. Yeah, it still disappeared. Something obviously happened Conzio.
Clearly.
So Speedy's right there. And
it'd be interesting to see. Well, I don't think we'll see the lap times because I suspect they'll both dive into the pits.
Yeah.
But you are right though. Conzio had a really good lead, near enough 3 seconds, which might have come in very handy for him at the end of the race. But yep, it's all gone. I think they're just playing with us. I reckon they're talking to each other, Cogan, and they're like, "Quick, open the gap back up," so they start getting excited, and now close it up again. Bring us back together. Keep them guessing.
Well, so I We're not going to be able to see, obviously, the lap time, but I can tell you what the sector time is now in a couple of seconds. So in that sector, can I see? Yeah, I think doesn't actually tell me. That's kind of shit. Never mind. It's kind of shit.
Yeah, data is not really Gran Turismo's strong point either.
No.
Konzio's actually got right back on it though. I don't think Speedy's made a mistake. I think Konzio's just pushing.
In the last sector, Konzio did a 27.2 and then Speedy did a 28.0.
Yeah, okay. So as they take to the Dodger Ho, it's actually a 2.3 second gap, which is beautiful for Konzio because it means that he is out of that slipstream reach of Speedy. But I do suspect both of them are about to dive into the pits together. And then that really will be the final run home.
Yep. It's going to be interesting. And Psycho Smiley just went a bit wide there as well. The gap is actually kind of put a 1.7 gap now between Dive Bombs and Psycho Smiley. With Tricky Brewer still there. Although he went wide on that corner. He actually lost himself nearly 0.6 of a second. Not ideal. But those guys are still on it though. They don't need the pit. But I see Konzio jump in.
Yep.
Along
Speedy
with Speedy, and this is where and the guys are going to see the fuel on their screens there. So Konzio only 3 liters left. Speedy with 14. This is where that 3-second gap is going to disappear.
It is. It was 2-point-something seconds. Can Konzio get out of the pits in first? I think Speedy's done it. Speedy's jumped him. Yep, Speedy has jumped him. That was where that extra fuel was. Obviously, we can talk about it now. It's all over and done with. They won't need to pit again for the rest of the race. But Konzio was a little bit better on tyres, looking after them. But Speedy had the fuel advantage, and he has just used that card to take the spot, take first place in the pit stops.
Yeah, and now is where we're going to see absolute pace. Who's holding back? Who is not holding back? Does Speedy have the outright pace to win this race?
Yeah, this is great. This is a 2-lap sprint for the win, and I think they're both going to be giving it. They're going to be throwing the kitchen sink at it at this point. And the difficulty is, I think Konzio has generally been perhaps a touch faster when needed, despite making a few little errors. But catching him's not going to be enough. He's going to have to try and overtake. He's got 2 laps to do it. And the Nordschleif's a hell of a spot to try and get past. So let's check in with third position. Dive Bombs has actually pulled a 2-second gap over Smiley. Looks like Tricky Brewell's just left Smiley alone. He's just kind of sat there for now.
And again, not a bad strategy. Because... Oh, he's just gone past.
Oh, whoa.
He has.
He has. He has. He's chucked it up the inside.
I
think they're going to be side by side.
Tricky Brewer on the outside, not ideal, but he could get late braking here. Mikey's just in the pits.
In the background.
Tricky Brewer.
He's deep.
Way later on the brakes there.
Deep.
He's
pulled it up. Around. Smiley's gone. Smiley has gone around.
He just
gutting for him
on the kink on the inside, and it just spun the car around. It's so easy to do.
Yep.
That is unfortunate. So,
through all of that, the fighting, the battling, the outbreaking each other, the side by side has given Dive Bomb 4.7 second lead. Now we know Tricky's Brewers tyres are a lap younger, but shit, he's got some work to do. 4.9 seconds now.
And I have to say,
he's going to have to drive the wheels off that.
Great clean racing between Psycho Smiley and Tricky Brewer there. So well done, guys, on keeping it clean. But now, as you said, he's going to have to really push it.
Yeah, he's got a real big job in front of him. He's got to make up the better part of 5 seconds and overtake. His tyres are better for sure, and you're going to see. I suspect he will be going faster than Dive Bomb, but we'll have to see how that unfolds.
Back up front, it is down to less than a second between Speedy and Konzio.
We've got lap traffic here. Dive Bomb just about makes it work up the inside, so they're both going to have to deal with it. A little bit of contact there. Dive Bomb gets through. But Tricky Brewer is about to have...
He's still... Yes.
Yeah, he's good.
The back markers, they don't seem to be in any hurry to get out of the way, do they?
I'd have to agree with you there. I would have to agree with you. Blue flags are waving. Tricky Brewer's coming, although he's a little bit back. I'm going to call it now. I think he's going to struggle. He needs Dive Bomb to get involved in something.
Yes, it's true. Dive Bomb has
struggle.
quite a good bit of outright pace there in the... he did a bit of a tank slapper, but he does have a lot of outright pace. Tricky Brewer does need to get past this back marker as well.
Yeah, he does. It's a little bit of a gap though. Still, it's a big air over that jump there. The front of the car lifting up entirely. But yeah, we'll see if the back marker gets out of the way or if he's going to play hardball, stick to his line.
Yeah, I have to say,
could be the difference.
I definitely, if there was the same kind of server admin rules or server stewards, I probably would be handing it a few 5 to 10 second penalties for some back markers
for not getting out of the way,
ignoring blue flags.
Blue flags, yep. And I'm going to stay on board with Tricky for now. He's actually, believe it or not,
Speedy just went a wee bit wide there, and Conzio is now less than 0.2 of a second as they go up the hill along the straight.
Yeah, I'm going to have to duck up front. We'll go back to Tricky and his progress, but
it's getting close, and this is not a good. This is a tough place to try and go for a pass.
Horrible.
I'm pretty sure Conzio, he probably has the patience, to be honest, and
yeah, I agree. I think he's going to have to sit there though.
Yeah. But he made the right choice there. I think he knew himself that wasn't really a passing opportunity, and to bide his time, because obviously he can just go on the straight and pass. MGH was correct though. That's actually 3 laps. We forgot about that. 16, 17 and 18 itself they have to do. So it is 2 laps after this one. But the guys have put on an absolute belter of a race up front.
There's these guys, I think they're gonna be chuffed after this. They're gonna be talking about how good that race was.
Yeah.
I mean, we are 16 laps in, so we are we've got to be 2 hours now into this race, and these guys have just been driving with each other for 2 solid hours. No strategy here, just driving with each other.
Tricky Brewer has spun. He has spun.
No, Tricky.
He just lost coming out of the corner, and it was one of the fast ones. He is now 9 seconds behind Dive Bombs, and unless something goes wrong, then it looks like Dive Bombs is going to get that podium position, and it's actually put Tricky Brewer kind of back in contention there with Psycho Smiley. He is now only 3.3. That spin will not have helped his tyres as well.
So has he cleared the back marker?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so they both cleared the back marker.
I think so.
So
there's no
he didn't trip over him,
he
just tripped over himself, basically.
I think it was just tripping out because I didn't see any cars around. But yeah, that's now 9.5 seconds. So I do think unless something goes wrong, Dive Bombs looks like he's going to pick up that 3rd position.
He does. He does have to do that extra lap, and it just depends how comfortable he has been on these tyres. I know for me, the 4th lap was definitely the hardest, and I was definitely slower. Tricky Brewer, my 3rd lap was okay in the Mazda, so if Tricky Brewer's got a good advantage over him. Dive Bombs, he's off the track, he's off into the wall.
Ooh. It's all going down, guys.
And he's rejoined, but Tricky Brewer seems to be a long way behind. What is going on with that gap there? Is it really still 10 seconds?
No, it's dropping there. You can see it is dropping
it's
there.
Dropping now.
Taking a bit of time. Psycho Smiley actually made a bit of a mistake as well, and he's dropped back to 5.5 seconds, nearly 6. So he went wide. So there is potential pressure to try and get a result here from these guys.
And Conzio's got the lead.
Conzio has got the lead. We missed it.
Conzio has taken the lead. We did. We jumped back to C and we missed it. I'd say Speedy made a mistake because not only is...
Although they've just come in at the end of the dodge here there, so potentially just passed on the slipstream. But it's now a second, 1.1 seconds.
So, man, I'm wondering if Speedy made a bit of a mistake or just got a bad run onto the Dodden Ho there. And because it's one thing to overtake, but typically once they overtake under slipstream, you can tuck back in behind the car that just passed you and then keep up with the back of them. So I'm wondering if a bit of an error there. But either way, we're now on the penultimate lap. And Conzio drops a purple sector. This is he's going to be dropping the hammer now. Don't worry about that.
He's going to try, and I think I saw some blue flags on the main pit straight there. So we're not over yet potentially when it comes to the blue flags.
So now Speedy will overtake on the straight, and then Conzio will overtake on the last lap straight. Well, that depends. So Speedy will need to be within about that second and a half, coming on to the back straight. So this is Conzio's task from now on for the rest of this lap, and it's try and pull away.
It is, and Tricky Brewer is still the 8.5 seconds behind Dive Bombs, but we do know obviously there's definitely a difference in higher wear between the two of them.
There is.
And
thank you for the follow, Advanced Australian.
Did he make another mistake? Because Psycho Smiley's now less than 3 seconds. I think Tricky Brewer's making another mistake, yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you. Dive Bomb's now 8.6 seconds up the road. So again...
Oh, he's pitted.
Dive Bomb's in the pits. He can't do it. The tyres are too much. Obviously, that mistake has rocked him. He's ducking in for pits now. He had an 8.7 second gap. There should be no fuel going on board here, so it'll be a...
And Psycho Smiley is also in the pits. He's
well, there we go. So Tricky Brewer has got it. Oh, no, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
Good grief. Oh, good grief. This could go anyway. So Dive Bombs has managed to hold that spot after the pit. God, he was lucky to get that gap. If Tricky Brewer had stuck with him, he'd be 8-9 seconds up the road by now. What is Dive Bombs?
Jeez, I don't know what he was doing there.
Hell of a tank slapper's one way to warm your tyres up. Hell of a tank slapper.
You'd have to think that Dive Bombs is going to have huge amount of pace here. And is he...
He's got to be warming the tyres up.
He's trying to warm his tyres.
That's a psychotic way of doing it. But
I mean, you just do that like a half a degree too much and you're gone.
That is a pretty wild way of doing it. I mean, 97% chance of me binning it if I did that, but it seems to have worked. And now the advantage goes the other way because Dive Bomb has been able to take that position back, and he's got fresh tyres.
He's good pace there. I've been very surprised, and in fact, we have 2 laps remaining, and Psycho Smiley battling it out here with Mikey. They've both pitted at the same time, and a really big battle here.
This is on for 5th.
P5, yeah.
And here we go, Mikey up the inside. Can he make it stick?
Nice.
Here, but
good
he's
race.
He's going to have to get it done.
He's going to be late.
Nah, I think Psycho's going to be on the brakes.
He is.
Oh, yeah.
Mikey had the back end of it there.
Clean. Good work, guys. Good work.
Speedy's in the lead.
Speedy is in the lead.
Conzio has made a mistake. It is down
to... he's made a big one.
4 seconds.
4.2 seconds. Oh, that's huge. That's not lag. He's made a monumental mistake there.
We've missed it again.
God, Jesus.
There's too much happening, guys. Calm yourselves.
Yeah. We had a fair chunk of this race where there wasn't really a great deal going on, and now all of a sudden all hell's broken loose.
And Speedy with the purple sector as well. So he has been pushing, but can he keep pushing for the next lap and a half?
Speedy dropped an 8.14 flat last lap. That is a tidy lap. Oh, that's out of the pits.
The pits.
Sorry, that's his out lap. Yep, forget that. 3.9 seconds, so bang, it's Conzio has got it all to do. He's got the rest of the ring here and then 1 full lap. I think Conzio does overall have that little bit of extra pace, but he's just made more mistakes today. So with a 4-second gap though, Speedy doesn't have to do too much. He just has to stay fast and clean. And I reckon the Conzio is going to struggle to get this.
He has a pace. There's not much difference in pace between the two of them. MGH, I don't think there was contact because there was actually around a 1.5 to 2 second gap between them. before the lead change. But yeah,
Lack of decent media coverage. I agree.
We need more
Barber.
cameras.
I agree.
We just need more cameras around the track.
That's the one thing that sucks after watching all these esports things, when you've actually got crews of people that have all the different angles and replays ready to go to click over. They're actually doing it like a TV telecast. When some local pleb like me tries to do this, I'm kind of restricted to whatever the in-game replays are showing, so it's a little bit hard to keep up. I wish I could duck back to replays. I don't have a keyboard plugged into the PlayStation. Call your hook if it's... there you go. So it's MG hook. That makes sense, yeah. It's a little hard to read the red on black because I've got night mode on. But yeah, hook. Okay, thank you.
Well, it's only red on black for you. It's green for me.
Is it?
Yeah. It knows.
Right. So, Tricky Brewer 2.3 seconds behind Dive Bomb. I reckon Dive Bomb, it's his to lose at this point. He's on fresh, brand new tyres, field to the end.
Down to 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, all he's got to do is keep it.
Although...
No, that was right, because Tricky Brewer was right behind him. Yeah.
The other two guys are still battling between less than a second, between 5th and 6th, so anything to play for there. Shano, Batman.
Shano.
But really close for 5th and 6th.
7th best off-peak streamer in Tasmania, something like that. That's who I am.
Poor Junior is now over a minute behind P7 and then over 2.5 minutes. He has had the loneliest race that I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I suspect he will not have fond memories of this one.
I'll tell you what.
He certainly has that.
BTC's beating him. He is 2.5 minutes ahead and 4.5 minutes behind.
You can see
hang on.
Mikey looks keen.
We have lapped traffic coming up ahead, I believe. So someone is passing. Tricky Brewer is just past Nick Magic there, who gets out of the way completely. Well done, Nick Magic. You're following the blue flags. Other people have not been so good at following blue flag rules. Yeah,
Dive Bomb's just pulling away though. You hate to say it, but I think this is Dive Bomb's to lose.
I do think so. The extra tyre that he has there.
In fact, Psycho Smiley's made a mistake as well, yeah? Because Mikey Michelson was behind him, and he's now 2.2 seconds up the road. So things always happen as soon as I click away from them.
Now,
when I watch him, nothing happens.
We're going to see Mikey is just about to catch up to Nick Magic here. He's going to need to pass the back marker. What way is Nick going to do it? He gets out of the way completely. Well done. Is he going to do the same for Psycho? We'll see. Hard to tell here with the camera angles. But
it is, and he kind of has to hold his line a little bit too.
Yeah, it's a bad place. He might just pull off here.
Oh.
Not a lot. Yeah, there's not a huge amount to do with there. He's got wide.
There we go. Oh, he just yeets himself. He's taken one for the team there.
Yeah, the yeetle has yeeted. He's coming back onto the track now, just in the middle of... Oh, he just unghosted at the wrong time there for...
Poor old Nick Magic's just trying to get out of everyone's way. He's having a torrid time.
He's trying his best. He's trying his best. But to be fair,
he's doing what he can.
It is the final lap of the race, guys. The speedy tyres has actually gained. It is now 5.2 seconds as we close our final time around the GP circuit.
Yes, Conzio has just taken a purple sector. So he's still pushing on, which is the right thing to do, but unfortunately he's obviously made a few more little errors, and he's got it all to do. 5.2 seconds is a huge margin, even on an 8-minute lap around the ring. These guys have been so close on pace, I think he's going to... There he goes, still on the purple sector, so he's on it.
Definitely.
But he really is going to need Speedy to make a mistake here. If Speedy can keep this error-free, nice and clean, it doesn't have to be fast. It doesn't matter if he's 2 seconds slower than Conzio.
So I'm gonna stick...
And in fact, he's on purple sector as well.
Yeah, so I'm going to stick with Conzio here. as he was just he's 600ths of a second off his best time as he went through that sector. But he is going to need a push to get the win for this race.
He is. He's got it all to do. I think was teeing up for a big win, but where's our close battles? Because we've got Speedy 5 seconds in front of Conzio, Dive Bomb 6 seconds. Tricky Brew's actually pitted.
He's in the pits.
He's in the pits. I'm wondering if he didn't have enough fuel.
He had
the
fuel.
tyres were just that bad.
Yeah, he just the tires. That is surprising. I thought he would have kept going there. He did have a gap.
Spot to Mikey, who won't be pitting, so he's 3.2 seconds behind Mikey. Nice fresh tyres to be sure, but also Mikey's his tyres aren't too bad. There's a bit of a difference. Okay, we'll monitor it. We'll monitor that gap. And Tricky Brewer all over the back of Smiley, but yeah, there you go. Fresh set of boots down to 6th.
Yeah, it's unusual.
He's going to have to get past.
You're talking obviously 8 seconds of a gap there at least, or maybe 6 to 7 seconds, because he's of how close he's come out there. So hard to know if he would have lost 8 seconds throughout the last lap.
Well, it's one of those things, I suppose, if you feel like you're about to spin, then you're better off swapping tyres. If you're just thinking, I'm going to spin at any moment, if you're just slow, you can deal with it. You can afford to lose 8 seconds, but if you spin, you're going to lose 10 or 15 seconds, so it might be worth pitting. But bold move. He does have some nice fresh boots, so he's going to be pretty punchy to get past Smiley, but with a 4.2 second gap to Mikey, you feel like 5th is probably as good as it's going to get for these two boys.
Yeah.
But we'll jump back up front and see how... Yes, Dive Bomb's 8.5 seconds, so he just needs to cruise. He doesn't need to do anything special, he just needs to bring the big girl home, steer the ship through, and Speedy and Conzio gap is also about the same.
Yeah, so 5.2 seconds is going down a wee bit, I have to say. It's definitely dropping. But is it going to be enough?
Not enough. Not enough at this stage. Or 4.8. If Speedy makes a mistake, then we're job on.
Mm-hmm.
If Conzio gets a sniff, we know he's going to push.
Absolutely. He still is pushing. He'd be mental not to actually keep pushing until the very end. Oh, he's gone a bit wide there. And that could be it.
Who's that?
Conzio went just a wee bit wide. Which is bringing it back to the 5 second match. It didn't cost them too much.
It is. And in the meantime, Speedy has, at the very end of this race, just last lap, set the fastest lap of the race and dropped an 8:12.2.
The pace.
So
the
just to rub it in, when Conzio's going through his toughest time, he's just rubbed that in by smashing in the best lap of the race. And it's hard to bet against Speedy. With half a lap to go, you feel like he's got it.
You do. We're not saying too much at the minute because it is half a lap to go and everything could happen at this stage between either car.
Mate, you do love to see it, mate, the turtle wax livery. Looks like Speedy has it in the bag, I agree. Maybe Tricky wants to target faster lap because he's bored. Maybe. He'd
be doing well to get close to an 8:12, to be honest.
Very good, yeah, very.
Down to 4.8 seconds. And
4.3 now.
And yeah, so Speedy went on the edge of the bowl, and
yeah,
that's not the quickest way around there. That's in fact the slowest way around there. So that's not good there. Is the pressure getting to Speedy? This is going to be heart in mouth end to this race here. I know if that was me up front in the lead of this race, my heart rate would be skyrocketing in at this stage.
Or down to 3.9 seconds, another little mistake. Come on, Speedy, what are we doing here, mate?
He could be.
Keep it together.
Yeah, I don't think he's fuel saving Piosco. I think he probably has enough. I know it is flashing red there, but it does it does flash red pretty much from the last lap that you have there.
Conzio's is as well. They've got virtually the same amount of fuel, so I think they're both not too worried about fuel, but Speedy will be getting worried about the 5.2 second gap he had. That's 3.6 now.
Yeah.
The only good news is they are 3/4 of the way through the lap. 6 minutes 40 into an 8-minute lap. He doesn't have long to go, and he doesn't have to be fast. He can afford to give up a lot of time.
Yeah, if this was
Just has to keep it together.
If this was at the start of the lap, then I would 100% be a lot more worried than I am now if I was Speedy. But he's doing well. He's keeping pace.
3.6 seconds coming into the final carousel, the baby carousel.
And Speedy or Sconzio, he's gone out wide a little bit again. He is obviously pushing as best as he has to be.
Going for it.
It didn't cost him too much. Again, he's been really lucky with that. Because, as we know, Charlie, if we did that, we would be into next week. Yeah.
But as we do hit the front straight, you tend to think it's all over. He's only got the Tiergarten to negotiate. I mean, it's a high-speed, scary part of the track, but still, that's all he has to do. 3.5 second the gap. This will be the final turn. There'll be some nerves as he comes into this, I reckon. He knows Conzio's not too far behind, and at full bollocks, 272 kilometres an hour, he's going to catch up in a hurry if you do make a mistake.
He is. He's got the gap is actually gaining. He didn't get a good run onto the back straight there. It's down to 4 seconds.
I don't think he did.
As we move over to Speedy.
YouTube subscriber. That was pretty random. Here we go. He's through the Tiergarten, through the final turn. Doesn't bang it into the wall. That is going to be it. Congratulations, CR Speedy. The lights flash as he weaves across the line. He's going to take out race number 2 of the CR 2.4 hour, followed by the Conzio bringing it home. Awesome race, guys. That was fantastic. Absolutely phenomenal.
Great, well done.
You guys held that for 2.5 hours or near enough. And 2.5 hours of battling and pit strategy. That was brilliant. Well done, guys.
And moving back a little bit, actually, Mikey Michaelton has actually got a bit of a gap to Psycho Smiley. It's now 5 seconds. So again, unless something happens there, it does look like positions could be as they stand.
Tricky Brewers drop back off the back of Smiley, 6.4 seconds. Only 1.3 seconds in front of Keefe, who could make that last minute dive for 6. In fact, that's going to be pretty close. Better get up with dive bombs. We've got a bit of a gap, which is a good thing about a long track like this, as we don't have to flick between them too much.
The thing
as dive bomb makes his way into the final carousel.
Yeah, so dive bombs will probably finish the race, but I don't think that the rest will. So I've something.
It's only 120 seconds. I don't think.
But yeah, this is it. Tricky Breweries.
This is
on the inside.
The race is going to end any second now, surely.
Now it's 40 seconds to go. 40 seconds to go. So
thank you for the follow, Jonesy.
Tricky Brewer, if
you've got to get him back.
Tricky,
mate, you've got to do it.
It's going to have to happen.
You've got to do it. Congratulations to Dive Bomb for 3rd, Psycho Smiley. Mikey Michelson in 4th, Psycho Smiley in 5th, but the battle for 6th is on. The race is about to end. They're not going to cross the line. Timer is going to run out, but I think he's done it. I think Keefe has done a Swifty on Tricky Brewer.
15 seconds. We have 10 seconds in 10.
Now's your time, Tricky. You're going to have to make this stick, mate.
5.
4.
2.
Here he goes. He's in the slipstream side by side. Who's going to get the final? Oh, that's the end of the race. That's the end of the race. He's missed out by a fraction. A fraction. Well, that was tight.
That was close. Let's have an actual look here. It doesn't. It's not going to tell us what the gap was, but we know that it was very, very close there at the end.
Wow. Yeah, that was good. Race results. Let me save that. I can't save the replay. I think it's too long. Race results. Let's have a little look. So again, congrats to Speedy for that awesome victory over Conzio. You two battled to the end. Dive Bombs 3rd, Mikey Michelson 4th, Psycho Smiley in 5th, and Keefe just. We can't see the gap, but it must have been a thousandth of a second. They were side by side as the race stopped. So close there, but Keefe grabbed 6 over Tricky in 7th. Junior, having had the most boring 2.5 hours of his entire life, has come 8th. BTC 9th. Nick Magic in 10th. He got duffed up there at the end, trying to get it out of everyone's way. Good job, though, Nick. You did do all right.
Yeah, fair play.
Buffer in 11th. Kazi in 12th. 13th has disappeared. And obviously Supreme and Isuzu DCing, which is a little unfortunate, but whew, that was close. That was close. Well done, everyone.
I'm wrecked after that, and I didn't even race.
The gap was 0.011.
Oh,
0.011.
jeez.
That is... oh, no, there you go. Super Dragon said 0.029 was the gap. So, either way, whatever the case may be, it was freaking close.
That was low. See, I mean, if you're going to leave it to the last second, that really was the last second.
That was the last set. Oh, there you go. The two winners were using Aussie Mike's liveries. So well done, Aussie Mike.
So
And thank you for my livery.